Maximus. Max, buddy. We're gonna have to boost your audio, sir.
Alright. Here, I'll try switching the microphone source.
Are you at home on your desktop or are you mobile tonight?
I'm riding my bike right now.
Oh, snap, bro. We'll get
Here,
you
I'll
home on
switch
the
it.
desktop, bro.
To do that, I should probably get back in.
Yeah. See if you can. I mean, we're definitely happy to have you, man. But this makes it a lot tougher.
And I'll come back then.
Let's see. I'm gonna boost your audio for now. Go ahead, Max. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Sound check.
How is it now?
Good. I'm boosting you. Go ahead.
Nice. Yeah. How we doing?
All right. Good. Maybe the audience could let us know if they can hear you well enough or not. If
I'm headed back anyway.
Okay. Just yeah. Whatever you got to do, man. It's all good. All right. We have a really big show tonight.
Huge.
Yeah, mega news. Dropped early this morning, like super early. And I'll go ahead and I'll put it on the screen so everybody, they see it in the title, obviously, but there's so many things that need to be discussed with this. Like it's quite messy. There's a lot of moving parts to this, honestly. I mean, the writing was on the wall, dude. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend and pander to the audience like, Dish was gonna make it. We're not Marcelo up in here. You know what I'm saying?
No.
We ain't selling wolf tickets, but there was always the hope and the holdout that, things would click, things would be working at some extent. I mean, they have turned things around quite a bit, but the road has been rocky and the debt has just piled up, and this is an act of desperation.
I guess it's got to happen for them to continue business. That said, because I found out $23 billion is what AT&T is paying Echostar for the spectrum. That's almost all of Echostar's debt. Almost.
It's actually they'll be plus $1 billion with this deal.
What, plus $1 billion? Okay, so they must have paid off a lot then since the number was last posted.
Properly. I think it's the unsecured debt. Is that what we're referencing, right? Like there's certain types of debt that are different than others, and you have long-term fixed rate debts and stuff like that. There's different ways of going about structuring debt, and I think the best CFOs in the game can tell you all about it. I'll spare you the waxing poetic about financials or whatever, but you can ask Pascal de Roches over at AT&T or
can't even answer some
Tony
questions.
Skiatis at the VZ,
right.
So, but what I want to do is obviously say hello to everybody. So big shout out to Ascending, Seth, good to have you guys. MS in the house, Life with Autism, salute to you. Yeah, it's good to have you guys, members, everybody out there. Dusty's in the house. Jeremy, how you doing? Michael Pepper, good to have you. Let's see who else we got in here. Trying to get to everybody. Kitsune, what up, Kitsune?
What up, Sneed?
What up, B? What's happening, bruh? Brandon in the
much.
house. Ciprioni's in the house. What up, bruh?
Sneed, I told you, sir. I told you.
I don't want to. No, don't do this, bro. Don't start the show like that. That's not what we're gonna do. We're not doing.
Stank told us. Big Stank told us,
David
not you.
Wants to know why there is a live stream right now. David, to be honest with you, this is kind of a big deal. Maybe you don't see it that way, but I think after you listen to what we have to say, I think you'll understand. Nicholas is here. Big Term. What up, man? Not to be confused with Big Perm. We got Big Term. Toolman is here. Daniel is here. RF Waves. What up, my brother? Really, Moose? Where's the invite? Really, bro? Really, sir?
Nah.
How about you check your email, dog? Maybe start there, sir. Sheesh, man. Acting like it's his first day. Speed test channel, Liddy. Carlton is here. Appreciate you stopping by. Giancarlo. ¿Qué pasó? Let's see. Did I miss anybody else here? Brandon Brucker Machado. What up? Josh is here. Salute, Josh. And I think we got everybody. There's Michael too. All right, good. Fun stuff. Okay, guys. Let's start here, right? I'm going to start from the Dish angle. I think that's appropriate. I think starting with Echostar and Dish is where we need to be, okay? Dish is selling out. So the whole like never count out Charlie thing, absolutely. Never count out Charlie. This was always absolutely in the cards, right? Because the debt was real and the stress, the financial burden is real. Now, if we just go back a few weeks, the pressure came from the FCC, literally like wanting to take spectrum away from Dish, from Boost Mobile. So like all this, you have to think to yourself that AT&T and Dish had been talking about this for a long time. And then once the FCC, Brendan Carr namely, put the pressure on to Dish and Charlie Ergen, they called up AT&T. They're like, yo, I think we need to put something in place. Like this shit's getting real. So obviously this needs approval. I don't think the FCC is going to reject this. I really do think they're going to be just fine with it. They want to get as much spectrum out and away from Dish as possible. I don't think it's going to be an FCC problem at all, in my opinion. Not at all. To the FCC, Dish has been a thorn in their ass. So, yeah, I think basically if it's still around that 3.45, the DoD spectrum limit of 40 megahertz per company, I mean, if it's still up there based on the time frame, I think it was 4 years from auction. If it's up, then it's good. But if it needs an approval or a blessing from the FCC, I think they'll do that. I don't think that's going to be an issue. The DOJ won't step in here. They're not going to say anything. This is a non-issue from a regulation standpoint. In terms of the debt burden, I think the unsecured debt for Dish was at $22 billion. This is a $23 billion transaction that keeps Dish alive for a long time. That would put them +1 on this, right? So they have to remain a functional wireless company, facilities-based network for another 2 years, I think through 2027. So I think they're about to do that. Any hopes of Dish becoming a real fourth carrier, those dreams have been crushed. Now they become a modified version of what they were before, which was already a limited MNO. Now they become even more MVNO than before, right? So if they were 60% MNO and 40% MVNO before, now it's the other way around, right? It's like 40-60. AT&T is getting they're buying for $23 billion, the 3.45 from Dish, which they never built. There's not a single radio around the entire Dish network that has 3.45 N77 broadcasting. Not a thing. Their N71, their 600 megahertz is nationwide for licenses, right? So if anybody was wondering how they came up with $23 billion, just so you know, Dish bought this spectrum for $13 billion. They made $10 billion on this transaction.
Hey.
So
Nice.
They bought the 600 back in 2016. They bought DoD 3 years ago or whatever when it auctioned back in 22 or 23. I forget. 21, 22, somewhere earlier in this decade. They made $10 billion. So you were wondering why Dish's stock, Echostar, went up 80% today? That's why.
Hey, fair play, Charlie.
They turned 13 billion into 23 billion.
That's pretty good. Yeah. Now, how many of the customers on the native Boost network were regularly on the 600 megahertz versus like the AWS4?
Like 90% of the traffic was on the N71.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting. And I've seen other people's experiences. My own experience, obviously, that's not just your
when
one
you're
source,
to
but
the site max, you'll be on the AWS. But if you're indoors,
yeah,
and you're 2-3 miles away, You're on N71.
Interesting. So this is making a pretty huge impact on
Yeah.
their
So
network, their existing customers.
Yeah, if you notice, the deal comes with a realignment and a rearrangement of MVNO access for Dish.
Yeah.
They probably got an even sweeter deal.
So as a result of them giving up effectively some of their network, because you don't have a network without spectrum, to AT&T, AT&T's giving them like a better cost per gig or a better
Yes.
agreement. Okay.
Yes. Because they're going to be spending more time on the network.
Right.
Yeah.
True. Now, do you think they're going to build out more of the AWS3 than 66, or can they not build it anymore?
They can build whatever they want.
Yeah.
They can, but they're not going to.
Yeah.
You just literally
All right.
reduce your debt burden, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that does mean a lot, though, because like companies get sunk by debt and they just can't do anything else other than just do everything they can to focus on paying that off. Now that that's lifted from them, they can do more. They have like options on where to go next.
Ladies and
But they
gentlemen,
don't
there's a moose sighting.
moose. They don't have much of a network left to do stuff, but they can do more than just talk about how are we paying off our debt.
Cha-cha.
Wow.
Cha-cha.
I
Remember, I asked you this a few months ago, Moose.
Oh man. Oh man. Well,
Are we due for a soliloquy, Moose?
this is it's
Oh,
been a
man.
long time coming. It's been a
Man,
long time.
last time you did one of those. Moose,
I
iPhone
think
17 will not get rid of millimeter wave. Okay.
I think the key about all this is AT&T is going to become the fastest carrier in a lot of markets very quickly. And by the way,
No, they won't,
very,
Moose.
very quickly.
N71? With
No, they won't.
N71, they'll become the fastest?
No, they won't,
Come
Moose.
on.
Don't do
with
that,
the
bro.
with the extra 30 megahertz of 3.45.
They'll be faster. 100%. You are correct about a speed increase. They will not be the fastest. No, sir.
They're already the fastest in El Paso without that extra 30.
I mean, that may be
So
true in certain markets, but I mean,
that's what I'm saying. In some markets, that's what I'm saying.
yeah, sure. No, I'll give you that. Yeah.
Yeah. In some markets, AT&T will be the fastest carrier. Now, here's what's going to be very interesting. In every market, AT&T will be faster than Verizon. Every market. Why?
No way,
It's just
Moose.
it. Yeah, think about
Hey,
it. Think
Moose,
about what
do
I'm about
not
to say.
say Moose, do you know what's going to happen if you say that in front of B?
This is just some basic math, guys. If we have more spectrum than Verizon, what does that mean?
Who are you talking about when you say we? You work for them or something?
No, that's not necessarily true, Moose. Think about it. There's so many factors. Like we're
4.9
literally
is not even on air yet, and that
Sneed.
is gonna be
okay,
huge.
but that's speculative. Like when that gets built, then sure, absolutely, I think you're right about that. But I mean, that has to happen though. And I look, I'm gonna get to the technical aspect of that. Obviously, we got to cover all our bases tonight. But I have to admit, like the most uninspiring 5G network build so far to date is AT&T's.
Look, I'm not going to deny that there's significant improvements that can happen,
And they are going to
but
happen, but we have to be
yeah,
realistic about the time frame.
yeah, but check this out. In places that have 3.45, you're going to be getting a significant speed boost extremely quickly. It's quicker than people think.
Well, I mean, existing tower sites just need an over-the-air update.
A little bit more than that. Yeah, you need to do some retweaking, and also the UE might need some retweaking too. Don't think that a cell phone will be able to take the spectrum just as is, right? You're going to need to do a firmware upgrade both on all the OEMs.
Yeah, but that's all very doable. That's not going to be an obstacle.
Right.
That's just it's going to happen in time. Let me give a shout out to the Speed Test channel. # never count out Charlie. # SMT. Thanks, man. Appreciate you, Dwayne. Thank you.
But Chacha, the I'm telling you this right now.
Shout out to Tana. What up, Tana?
When you add up all the different spectrum bands, yes, it's piecemeal, right? Nobody
Uh-huh.
wants all these different antennas and radios, but when you add up the spectrum bands and all the megahertz, Verizon needs to be dangerously scared now. This is now officially, I'm on record now saying this for many years. Verizon has to be concerned because, again, in many of these PEAs, Verizon does not have a low band carrier.
What did they acquire from US Cellular again?
And they're not going to be able to do anything with that until
26.
exactly.
Okay, so another
Right.
year.
So again, the issue is that, and by the way, didn't they just get 850
Who?
from US Cellular?
Yeah, 2026.
You're right, 850 though, right?
Yes, the 850. Yes.
Right. Okay, but they still don't have 850 in Dallas. They still don't have 850 in Southern California. They don't have it in more than 50% of the country.
They do have it in more than 50% of the country.
Every carrier has a percentage of the country on 850. My point is that wherever they don't have it, AT&T does have it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I mean,
Right. So
there's places
right,
where they
so,
both have it, Moose.
right. So my point is though that in places that they don't have it, which is a lot, they have a problem.
I've already
Why
done
did
this before.
Verizon
Why do I have to do this again, bro?
do what?
What? I've already done this.
Done what?
I got you, bro. I got you.
Got what?
I got you.
You gotta stop letting them do these soliloquies, bro.
I got you right here. So these are the Verizon holdings for 850. So this is block A. Okay, so get a visual map of that. This is Verizon's block A of 850. Here is their block B of 850. So please explain to me how do you substantiate that they don't have 850 across most of the US? This is 850 block B.
Sneed, I must say that's a lot of 850.
This is 850 block A. Please tell me where they don't have 850.
Look, at the end of the day, if they
Are we
would
just gonna ignore
have,
this, or are we
Look
gonna
at the end of the day.
at
Are
the
we
end of
gonna?
the day,
Hold on. Can we get a screenshot, please? And then can we do this coloring assignment? You got 850 block B. You got 850 block A. Where do they not have it? Okay, go on, Moose. Go on, Moose. All right, and Moose is gone.
All right. I think
All right.
I think the general argument to some extent is true. AT&T's network is going to get a lot better with 3.45 and more markets. But like
Yo, Max, you're ribbiting like a frog, bro. Can you pop
oh
out
man.
back in?
what I was saying was at the end of the day, if they had a nationwide sub 6, low band Verizon, they would have already have deployed their voice over NR. The places that they've deployed voice over NR primarily today is where they have the majority of N77 available. Correct?
Yes.
Right. So you can deploy voice over NR on a 10 by 10 slice, even a 5 by 5 slice. You can do it, but they haven't. Why? Because they don't have enough spectrum to position their existing LTE based users and have a sub 6 5GSA carrier, a spectrum
Low
band.
band carrier.
Yeah,
Right.
low band carrier. They don't have that. That's why they haven't done it. So with this situation, any place that AT&T doesn't have 850, right, band 5, NR, will get 600 megahertz. Now you have a nationwide coverage layer as an option.
Yeah, we're gonna do the complete network breakdown, but with respect to Dish, They still have AWS N70 and N66. They still have N29, which is like in 95% of the country. They have CBRS band 48, N48 PALs. They have some millimeter wave. Those assets are probably, I don't know, Verizon's probably looking at them. T-Mobile's probably looking at them now that this kind of breaks the seal or opens the door. They sold the 3.45 to AT&T. That deepens the N77 piece for them. I think 30 megahertz average. Some places they have 20. Some places I think they also have 40, but it averages out to 30, I guess. 600 megahertz, the low band, the N71. It's a 10 megahertz slice in most places. There are some places where I think it's 5 megahertz. I think the dreams and aspirations of the Dish network being, the fourth carrier, I guess that's over. It was always a pipe dream. It was going to be very, very difficult for them to compete in such a market. I think for what it's worth, T-Mobile in this instance, and I've heard some people discuss this, they kind of lose out on the 600, right? It really made sense for them to get the 600 in terms of synergies. The thing is, though, is like, who the hell doesn't want a low band that's a 10 megahertz slice? I mean, that's a nice chunk of coverage on 10 megahertz, which is really good. I mean, it's possible there could be a negotiation, a spectrum swap, but I doubt it seriously. I think AT&T is going to build the 600. T-Mobile could be looking at the AWS maybe from Dish in the future. T-Mobile debt has been rising quickly, so maybe they were priced out of this transaction. I do think AT&T overpaid for the spectrum, in my opinion. But I mean, sometimes that's what you got to do when you got to fix your network, right? Or make it better, I guess, best way to say it. For Verizon, I think they're shit out of luck. I think they wanted the 600, but they didn't get the price they wanted. Like I said, I think AT&T overpaid for it. Verizon could always get involved in the AWS piece, the CBRS piece from Dish. They obviously, like Moose said, they miss out on the low-band 5G on our carrier straight to 5G. That's unfortunate. But Verizon has a lot on their plate. They've got a Frontier transaction that they're doing. They're still building out C-band. They have a crap ton of debt they have to pay down. A deal with Dish would have to be so sweet that they wouldn't be able to pass it up, but I don't think that was the case here. I think AT&T was the highest bidder.
T-Mobile needs to take a break.
Yeah, nobody's telling them no, so it's like, they probably would have pulled it off if they decided they want to spend the money.
For sure, but it's something like, let's say even if the government just greenlights everything, which so far has been the case, I think for their own sake, they need to be like, all right, at some point we got to chill.
Hey, Sneed, do you see T-Mobile buying some of their 600 megahertz in exchange for the C-band?
No. No. The 600 from Dish is nationwide. The C-band for T-Mobile is
regional.
I think top PEAs, maybe 20 of them. I don't even think it's 100 markets. I think it's less. I think it's like 25, 30 markets.
So is it a foregone conclusion that AT&T is going to try to buy the remaining PEAs with that have 3.45?
I think so. Yeah, that's a good point. When let's do the AT&T piece in a second here. I think that's like that is actually the biggest part of all this is what AT&T is doing, right? Like we understand the losses of Dish and all of that stuff and the casualties of war, but like the focus does need to be on the AT&T network here. There's so many good, and actually there's a couple of bad things out of this. That's probably a reality about the AT&T network moving forward. So in terms of what you're saying, Brandon, like 10 megahertz of 10 megahertz of 600 trading for 40 to 60 megahertz of C-band from T-Mobile, like it doesn't even make sense, right? It's not like a clean, even swap. I doubt it seriously. And there's things about AT&T that are screaming at me that say we need more low band, even though they have a lot. So for those of you that don't know, AT&T has 10 megahertz paired of band 14, 700 megahertz low band. They have 10 megahertz of band 12, 700 megahertz low band. They have 5 megahertz of band 29. 700 megahertz low band. Now you're going to add 5 to 10 megahertz of
10,
N71,
10
600 meg.
megahertz of low band to band 29. 10.
No, there's some
It's both
markets where
D
it's
and
only
E
5.
mark. Yeah. Some
Oh,
markets only 5, but it's both D and E block in some markets as well.
it's probably more than 90% of the country where it's going to be 10. So yeah, it's mostly 10. So AT&T is going to have 4 low band carriers, one of which is going straight to NR 5G, the 600. And actually, Moose, what I really don't understand is why Dish didn't sell the band 29, because right now AT&T only has 5 megahertz of it download only.
Well, from what I understand, Tyrone was mentioning that in the investor conference immediately after the announcement in CNBC, Sankey said something along the lines of, Dish gave me anything I wanted. The whole portfolio was open to me, but I chose these two because I strategically needed them for a significantly faster speed and better in building penetration.
So then he didn't value the band 29.
I think it was too expensive for what it was worth. Correct. Right. Because
Yeah,
think about it. There, a lot of folks, I've been reading both comments from all things, Reddit and all this stuff. Everybody's been asking, why was AWS 4 not an option? Why was AWS 3 not an option?
they were
right?
options, but why
No,
didn't
as
they
in like,
take them?
yeah, why
Right.
didn't they take the options? Right. And then I think the reason why is because band 70, right? AWS 4 was too expensive for what it was, right? If you think about it, would you rather spend 10 to $12 billion for 40 megahertz of AWS 4, or would you rather save that money and get additional spectrum in the higher band C band, or the 3.1 that's coming in the future, right?
Yeah, I think it's actually different, Moose. I think it's because some DoD radios are already up, and they don't want to put up a separate radio for more AWS.
No. The DoD was probably a foregone conclusion. I think that was what it was 100%.
It was always going to happen.
Yeah, it was
Right.
always going to happen. I'm just saying the other stuff, AWS
Well, me
4,
too.
AWS 3.
Me
Right.
too. That's what I'm saying is there was going to be more radios having to go up for the AWS H and AWS 4.
Yeah, because
You can't keep splitting these radios and splitting powers on channels.
Right. There's already too much weight on the cell site as it is, right? Because
It's a cluster F on all these tower sites. You've got 2 panels for N77 on a lot of these sites. That's a radio and antenna separate for the
you
2
know what's
frequencies.
interesting though, Chacha, on that? ORAN is going to be a very interesting situation with all
Sure.
this.
I mean, it gives them flexibility in the configuration and the broadcasting,
Exactly.
but it doesn't
That's
change the
right.
fact that you have a hell of a lot of radios up there already.
What I'm thinking is going to happen is there could be an off-the-shelf Fujitsu or Ericsson antenna.
And do we like the sound of that, Moose?
What?
Do we like the sound of Fujitsu?
No. Let's hear me out. There's going to be an antenna company out there that you're able to have N71, either band 12 or 14, and band 5, band 66, band 2, and band 30, and band 29.
Band 14 is
All
always
of
going
them.
to be solo, Moose, because of FirstNet. You know that.
Well, that's interesting because maybe band
They
14
can't have
has
split
a
power.
combo.
It's HPUE equipment, bro. They don't want to deal with that stuff.
We don't know what the or the antenna combination is going to be. This is totally new territory, man.
Bro, it's messy territory. It's going to be there's going to be trial and error. There's going to be shortcuts taken. It's going to be messy. And these leases are going to be crazy. Everything's got to change, Moose.
I don't know, man. I mean,
their spectrum position is every time along the way they've had an opportunity to get spectrum, they did. And what that did was created a bunch of carriers that need to be combined, right? So 5, 6, 7 carrier aggregation, because you got a bunch of these 5 megahertz here, 10 megahertz there, 20 megahertz there. It's a lot.
Yeah, it's going to be
something I
interesting.
know about AT&T, Moose, because I've been watching this whole network build. If nobody's paying for it, if AT&T has to pay for it, they take their good old time. When
Yeah, but
FirstNet paid for everything, shit was getting done.
Chacha, what's going to happen very, very soon?
The 4.9, I'm with you. I got you.
Exactly.
But I still have to wait and see that happen, right?
No, it's not. Let's wait and see. This is what's going to happen if and when
Bro, Verizon's not
4.9
cool
becomes
with it, bro.
available. That's
Verizon's not
fine.
cool with it.
But you know who the this is the crazy part. The administration is not cool with Verizon. That was very evident.
That is
When the
100%
transaction,
true. That is 100%
when the
true.
transaction with Frontier happened, guess what they told them?
That was
Take
the
away your
DI.
D&I
Yes.
or you're not getting this deal, right? That's a
100%
fact.
facts. Big facts.
Carr literally called this, alligator shoe man from Europe, and he was like, "You better do this, or else we're not going to approve this," right? So,
and he complied, and he bent,
and he had to comply. But do you think that the administration is favoring Verizon?
No.
Come on, guys, wake up! The administration, in my opinion, is favoring AT&T after everything that's happened. And T-Mobile. In the last just 8 months, what did AT&T get? No problems.
Well, AT&T Stanky was very, very he was very, very complimentary of Brendan Carr in the FCC, the last earnings.
And if you listen to the CNBC interview from this morning, there was a question on, hey, what would you do if the government put a stake in your company? And he's like, well, I wouldn't be opposed to it if they paid for it because that gives me additional capital, but I'm not in the business of giving away stuff for free. That was the exact quote. So he basically said,
that's
if
the
AT&T,
quote. That's the right quote. No, he shouldn't have said anything else. That's the right quote.
That if you read between the lines, what that is saying is that if the government, which by the way, FirstNet is technically the government's network, not technically it is, right? Which by extension, that means that the government has to support AT&T no matter what, right? That means that what's going to happen is when 4.9 becomes available and when they are going to go balls to the walls, 70% of all pops have to be covered by 4.9. What do you think is going to happen, Chacha? 600 megahertz, any remaining, spectrum or whatever is going to also be done in that one tower climb.
Sure. Yeah. The two things that are going to help them will be the 4.9 and Nokia to Ericsson.
I want to say something that Moose said earlier about the network. I actually agree with him on AT&T being the fastest eventually. And the reason why I say that is because one of the things that Stanky has been doing that everybody else has been doing is pushing out the wireless and wireline bundle. Knowing that they're gaining so many customers each quarter, they have to be moving as fast as T-Mobile is moving. Because if not, those customers are going to end up leaving. And they don't have to offer perks.
Well, from like a network standpoint, AT&T getting the N77, channels get deeper. You're going from 40 megahertz plus 30 gives you 70. They're likely going to look to get the rest of it no matter who's got it. So that'll be like the AT&T band. So band 14 will be theirs. And then the DoD piece will be theirs.
And by the way, Chacha, one thing before I forget. There's some markets that already have the additional 20 megahertz from US Cellular.
So 20 today, plus 30 is 50, plus 40 is 90.
That's already going to be in place.
And then they have the 80 and the C band, so that'd be 170 at the N77 level.
Exactly. And how much does Verizon have nationwide on average? 160.
Right.
So that's why I keep telling you that just off of straight stats, right? Just the straight megahertz, AT&T will 100% be faster than Verizon.
But it's not
Just
a
from
perfect
stats.
play but here's the thing, Moose. The 600 piece, you're hanging more radios. That's another climb. However they do it, whether it's with Nokia to Ericsson conversions or with FirstNet builds with 4.9, that's more gear, that's readdressing the leases, that's more cost, that's more power. I mean, we all know that AT&T turns off radios at night. And we all know that they got a crap ton of gear that's already up on sites, and they got to figure this thing out. AT&T has not been efficient in their tower climbs. AT&T has not been efficient about their frequencies. So this maybe is an opportunity for them to clean that up. I don't know how they're going to play it, but they probably want to address this.
Yeah.
I think this is also a signal that AT&T is not going to densify. The only thing that's going to cause AT&T to densify is FirstNet. That's it.
Well, hold on.
This spectrum acquisition does not guarantee a densification from AT&T, and I'll tell you why, Moose. 600 megahertz buys them edge cell capacity and an improvement on the edge. It's a low band, full power, good reach, indoor penetration. They're going to relax the densification unless the 4.9 happens sooner than later, right? When that happens, all bets are off. I'm with you. But until that happens, this reduces the need for densification, Moose.
Well, hold on.
Would you say that AT&T has embraced the grind over the last 10 years?
I don't know if it reduces the densification narrative. I think what's going to end up happening is you're going to start seeing, how do I say this? You're going to start seeing existing cell sites become faster. And to your point, they'll have significantly further range, right? Once the 600 megahertz. And by the way, even without 600 megahertz, let's take that to the side for a second. By having more capacity, by having more bandwidth, you will have up tilts on the C-band. That is a foregone conclusion. Anytime there's been additional spectrum add on any carrier, you get additional up tilts. So you're going to be able to have the C-band go further and have more capacity. Okay, that's number one. Then once you incorporate the 600 megahertz, yes, you're going to be able to have approximately 10% better range and definitely better penetration, right? But at the same time, how quickly do you anticipate 600 megahertz to actually be deployed?
3 years.
That's
at least 3 years.
That's assuming no 4.9.
Oh, no 4.9? It'll never go on every site. Never.
I don't think there's ever been a situation where there's every single spectrum is on every single site.
I don't think they get to 90% of the sites. I don't think they get to 80%.
I think that 600 megahertz is going to be a very unique situation. You guys know that there's like congestion prevention. You know that term, congestion prevention?
Yeah.
Where they like put CRAN and they put additional assets, right? I think the 600 megahertz is rural / in-building loss prevention. That's how I'm thinking about 600 megahertz.
I'm looking at it differently. They're putting 600 megahertz on every site that's getting upgraded or converted in the near term.
Hold on, Moose. Why would they overpay for it if it was just rural and indoor?
Well, because, okay. The way that I see it, because I looked at Mosaic's, Fierce Wireless back in 2017 posted the Mosaic estimation of the PAs. Dish has a lot of only 5x5 of 600 megahertz.
Hold on, Moose. AT&T paid $1 billion for US Cellular 700 megahertz. Wouldn't that be the spectrum for rural and indoor? Oh,
yeah, it is. I mean, but the 600 is too. I mean, they're the same type. It's the same type of spectrum.
No, right, for sure. But
like we can't look at 600, 700 as any different. They're exactly the same.
Oh no, for sure. I'm saying they paid so little for it from US Cellular compared to what they bought it from for
Yeah, because of
EchoStar.
it's not national, it's regional.
Sorry, I got a call and then
Oh,
interrupted the thing. I was looking at the 600 megahertz spectrum map from Mosaic. It was on the Fierce Wireless article from back in 2017. There's a lot of only 5 by 5 of 600 megahertz that Dish bought, like in New Mexico and Arizona and which of the other places, right? However, there's also some really interesting finds. In the New York City metro area, it's 20 by 20.
Do you
That's
remember
interesting.
during the pandemic when Dish gave
Yep.
T-Mobile 600 to use?
Yep.
And then they
So,
asked T-Mobile to start paying, and T-Mobile told them to go to hell. We want it for
right.
free.
what?
So what's going to be interesting
Free Ben
is
Max.
What? No, hold on. That's crazy.
20 by 20 in New York City is a game changer because New York City is basically all in building, you
Right,
know?
right.
So that changes the game there. Um, but in the majority of the country, it's not guaranteed 10 by 10. You have
Moose,
some
I am
pockets.
telling you, dog. You know I always shoot straight with you, bro. We don't
Yeah.
bullshit here. The sites getting 600 are going to be Nokia to Ericsson conversions, new builds, for FirstNet climbs, that sort of thing. Those are going to be the sites that get prioritized. The other sites are going to happen eventually, which could be next year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. They are in absolutely no rush to upgrade every site.
I
That is
think,
not a
though,
thing.
Chacha, if hypothetically 4.9 is on the table, right? And the government tells them that you have to deploy 4.9 at a faster pace than than band 14, right? Then I think we have a situation where 600 megahertz will be swapped in because this is what I anticipate they're going to do. What they're going to do is because remember, the more weight on a cell site, the more you pay. That's
Right.
obvious, right? Because you'd have to have more insurance because somebody could die from the antenna, landing on their body or whatever. Um, I think very strongly on this that if you have 4.9 in play and you have a situation where you have to deploy 70 or 80 or 90% of your pops with that spectrum, then you're going to have a significant amount of 600 megahertz deployed at the same time because they're going to use that FirstNet payment of the tower climb, like you were saying, to do the 600 megahertz swap.
So, Moose, when are we going to address the elephant in the room?
Which one?
AT&T raising prices?
What?
Mm,
They did that, or they're gonna do
No.
that?
When are we going to address the elephant in the room? Like, this is a $23
Oh,
billion deal. When are we going to
right.
talk about the price increases?
I don't think that there's going to be a price increase
Oh,
because the
Okay.
God.
only
Here we go.
and
Moose,
I'll tell you,
Here
Moose,
we go.
Moose,
think about it
Moose,
like this. Think about
Here
it
we
this.
go.
There
Moose.
are you agreeing that the only reason why they're competitive is because they have slotted in as being the most affordable carrier when you have convergence?
Moose.
I
Like,
mean, that's definitely a factor for sure.
Moose. Have you ever dealt with AT&T's billing before?
Oh, of course.
Okay, of course. So you know that it's a random number generator where they just choose a different number each month that they feel like charging you. They don't have to do. Hold on, Moose. They don't have to do these $3 or $4 increases when it's a free for all every month. All right.
Mm,
Well, like we've been addressing this whole time. These past several years, I've had AT&T, or my family had AT&T for a year and a half before we switched. And part of the reason we switched was because I'm tired of this. I'm tired of every month having to look at the bill, and it's like this month they choose to not apply this credit they're supposed to. This month they invent a new fee. This month certain fees cost different prices on different lines. It's it's fuckery. Like, what are we talking about?
Come on, Moose. Just look at the playbook, right? T-Mobile does all these things, all these corporate actions, and boom, pricing levers get pulled. Verizon builds out C-band 3 years in, price increase, boom, 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 every year. Like, what are we talking about? Why would AT&T be different?
Well, and
because this is why
Let him speak next.
I think if you see the competitive landscape, you have Verizon giving away phones for free on their
Right.
top plan. You have
Mhm.
T-Mobile giving away phones for free on their top plan. I anticipate that the promotions for the iPhone 17 series are going to look like this. Any year, any condition across the board, across the entire industry, any year, any condition. That's what I'm literally
But are they gonna
anticipating.
be any plan? That's the most important part.
No, they're not going to be on any plan. They're going to have to, at least on T-Mobile and on Verizon, you're going to have to be on the top two plans. The same playbook as the iPhone 16 series for 4 weeks. Then after that, what they did was they switched to just being the top plan. Okay. So what I'm anticipating is have to be more competitive than they are, which means they're going to do all plans, and the offers are going to be for all plans, unlike the competition. That's the only way that they're competing right now.
AT&T has the highest acquisition costs. How are they not going to raise prices, sir?
Because I think if you think about this, remember the T-Mobile playbook, ARPA instead of ARPU?
So just deepening the customer relationship
Exactly.
to make up
I
the
st-
difference.
I still feel like there's so many people that have yet to switch from either their ISP provider at their house or their wireless provider, and they have AT&T fiber. I mean, I've met people that they have Verizon, but they have AT&T fiber at the house. You know?
So
Moose,
with the
hold on.
fiber piece, with
Oh, oh,
internet error, do you think that gets involved too, and that becomes prominent with all
Oh
this?
yeah,
hold on,
yeah.
Moose. Do you think that what you talked about, where they have Verizon for wireless and AT&T fiber, do you think that that account is going to AT&T wireless, or are they going to Verizon FiOS when that becomes available?
Verizon Fios is not going to build in an area that already has a fiber provider.
Okay, but they're getting the Frontier acquisition.
Correct, but AT&T fiber very, very rarely is in the same location as Frontier fiber.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
they
saying.
don't compete against each other a lot of the times.
Yeah.
Oh,
Maybe less than 1%.
Yeah, it's super rare that a fiber provider would overbuild in an area that already has fiber provider. The only exception to that is, well, obviously Google Fiber, because Google Fiber is not one of the main ISPs in the country. It was more of like this random company, right? And by the way, I still anticipate T-Mobile is going to buy them eventually, Google Fiber. But
I've said the same thing.
right, right. So, but I think if we were to think about this from a broad strokes way, right? Like what's going to happen because you have more capacity, you're going to be seeing people that never would be able to have internet air before have access to internet air. That's number one thing.
Hey, Moose. This is a direct
Yeah.
quote from the AT&T press release. The company also expects to achieve long-term operating efficiencies as the acquisition of these licenses will reduce the need to boost network capacity through the capital-intensive construction of additional cell sites. Thank you, sir.
So,
Thank you,
so
sir.
basically, that's saying that with the existing base of cell sites, you can maximize the utilization of them.
They're not going to densify, Moose. That's the end of this. Like I said, the 600 megahertz changes everything. They're
I
going
think
to
it's not
build
this.
this. There were some people speculating that they were going to use this to negotiate spectrum swaps with T-Mobile. That is not the case. They are buying this to build it, and it is replacing densification in a lot of places. So you said it was rural. I'm saying it's everywhere. And DoD gets full power. It travels far, So like it's going to be fine. But anybody who was expecting AT&T to densify, it is not happening. Dude, how many times have they stalled out on network builds? CRAN, all these things. The AT&T 5G Plus network is it's taking a long time. It was
So-
building slow. AT&T's focusing on fiber, and then they started doing these Nokia to Ericsson conversions. It's complicated.
Are they like two or 3 years behind Verizon and T-Mobile?
I mean, if you ask AT&T, they'll tell you they're probably on par with Verizon, but we all know it's not exactly the same.
Well, you don't
I think it
take their
depends on the
word for it.
market. I think it depends on the market.
I mean, there's some markets where, like Dallas, for example, where AT&T is fantastic.
Well, even in some parts in Dallas, Prosper and McKinney, the places that developed ridiculously quickly with people. But again, just like anywhere else, the cell density didn't develop fast or kept up pace, right?
But I'm not going to overlook the fact that they let permits expire and they didn't upgrade sites. And they let those things fall through.
Here's the other thing too, Chacha, that I think could potentially happen too. Because you now have more ways to get the signal to the customer, maybe instead of having 10 sites in an area, you might only need 5 now. Maybe that's also where you can read between the lines.
Yeah, but Moose, they're
of
not
that
going to
press
take
release.
down sites just because they got N71.
No. I'm saying, like, if you're going to build 15 sites, maybe
Gotcha.
now you only need 7.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, like you don't need as many to densify because you have now more options.
But density has been an issue for AT&T. It has not. I mean, they have not been the industry leader in density. That's not a thing.
Right.
So this isn't solving that problem. I mean, it's like a Band-Aid, right? So like it's going to help the edge, but it's not going to fix the edge. You fix the edge by building more sites. Low band is a Band-Aid because you can't do things on low band that you would do on the mid band. Like you can't monetize low band, Moose.
What's T-Mobile would beg to differ on that one.
Come on, Moose. Are we really going to go there, bro?
Yeah, extended range. They marketed it, remember?
T-Mobile markets everything.
Monetize N71. You can't sell somebody Internet Air on N71.
We're not solely on N71. Bro. No, but what you can do is you have more options now for how do I say this?
You made the edge usable.
No,
you gave indoor propagation. You helped the. Go ahead, Moose.
There's one more thing, because you taught me this a long time ago. The anchor band, right? The band that is the foundation of the carrier aggregation. Since it's going to be 10% better for range and then better in building, right? Your anchor band might be 600 megahertz, and then it's aggregating band 2, band 66, band 77.
Well, in my opinion, I think it's going to help uplink the most. Like that's a weakness for AT&T.
Right.
So I think AT&T's uplink is about to get a really nice enhancement. But I don't think this is monetizable, not the N71. The DoD absolutely is.
You don't think that the increase of 30 megahertz on N77 is going to also increase the upload?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. The DoD 100%. The 600 you cannot monetize.
I mean,
you can't sell Internet Air on N71. You have to sell it over N77 and these mid-band frequencies. If N71's part of it, cool, but it can't be solo.
Well, hold on. I think the minimum speeds that you need for Internet Air are 50, right? If I'm not mistaken, between 25 and 50.
They said they didn't want to do it. Stanky doesn't even like the consumer Internet Air.
Right.
He's all fiber. They were so slow to expand Internet Air compared to Verizon and T-Mobile fixed wireless because they were so slow to build out 5G plus. They only want to sell fixed wireless where it can actually be a good product.
Yeah, but I think things have changed now, right?
How?
Because you now have so many areas with N77 and 3.5.
Yeah. So they expanded the Internet Air. That's what I'm saying. As the network expanded, which was slower than Verizon and T-Mobile, so did their fixed wireless, which also expanded slower than the other two.
Without a doubt, the AT&T network is about to get better. You don't just add all this bandwidth and the network doesn't improve. I'm just saying, let's not overstate it and act like all of a sudden this network is going to be better than T-Mobile's or Verizon's. That's not the case. It's going to be better than the old AT&T network. It's going to be a new AT&T network. It's going to be more competitive with T-Mobile. It's going to be more competitive with Verizon. It doesn't mean it's going to be better than those two. It means it's going to be better able to compete with those two. There's no guarantee that 50, 60, or 70% of these sites get it within a year or two. It might take 3 years. It might take 5 years, Moose. We really don't know. It's going to make the network better, but I'm not going to, pander to these narratives about it being better overnight or everybody's going to love it and it's all going to be fantastic in 1 year. It could take several years.
Well, so let me, I guess. Oh, go ahead.
I'll say this, Need. The network will get better. Will it be better than AT&T? I mean, better than T-Mobile or Verizon? In some areas, yes. Will it be in all areas? Probably not.
Hold on.
Because, I mean, there's still some areas where Verizon and T-Mobile still struggle, but they're not going to please every customer that there is. I do see them deploying more AT&T Internet Air, but they're going to push more than anything harder AT&T Fiber.
You know why? Because AT&T puts more money into fiber than wireless. So yes, I agree with you.
Exactly.
See, we have to look at this from a pragmatic standpoint. And to address Toolman's comment here, Verizon was always spectrum starved, and they always had a better network than AT&T. It wasn't until FirstNet that whole thing changed. FirstNet is what gave AT&T the better network than Verizon on a state level. It was FirstNet. It was Band 14. It was the modernization process. It was the tower climbs. It was the additional bandwidth. It wasn't that AT&T was doing anything special. Verizon was spectrum starved, and everybody was on them.
I mean, AT&T was no different.
I'm sorry, Tech, that is not happening, sir. They are with Stanky. Stanky and the FCC are lock and step. Moose, would you agree with that statement?
I think that, like I said earlier, in the last 8 months, what has happened?
Everything is going AT&T's way.
Or T-Mobile's way.
Or T-Mobile's way. Everything has been fantastic.
And what about with Verizon?
Dish and Verizon have been eating crap.
Right.
They've been eating shit burgers.
And Verizon, if they really want to be, see, this is the thing. If you really want to be on the good side of the government, you have to comply. Do not go against the government in this era. The next 4 years, we've talked about this, Sneed, in multiple podcasts. We've said this, right? Like we've literally said, to continue being as successful as you want to be in this era, right? This was in 2024 when we said this podcast. I think it was like in late November, early December. You're going to have to comply. Even though people don't like it, even though people say it's crazy, unfortunately, business, that's how it's going to be done. That's what you have to do if you're the CEO. And unfortunately, Hans didn't do that. That's why he's getting this treatment. And honestly, it's his fault.
Yeah,
it's his fault.
There's culpability. I agree.
Yeah, there's culpability. Right.
Yeah, I agree with you. Moose, let me get to the super chat from Red Rep. He said, Sneed, pull up Spectrum Omega, see where the AT&T gets the Dish 600 and the 3.5. Let's do it. All right, so on your screen, and I'm going to just give you guys the full screen experience here. Red Rep, thank you. I'm going to just remove this. All right, let's do the 600 megahertz. Where is AT&T going to get 600 megahertz? There's 5 megahertz of it. There's 5 megahertz of it in Maine.
By the way, Chacha, you, for the viewers, can you give what that website is?
Spectrum Omega. So you guys can just Google search Spectrum Omega, and then you could choose the carrier, the operator, and then you can go by frequency.
Thank you, Chacha.
Yeah, man. So here's 5 megahertz in these orange areas. Here's another 5. Maine, SoCal, Tennessee, Kansas City. There's a part of the UP 5 megahertz. There's New York. So, Moose, you were mentioning the 20 megahertz that they have in New York. There it is.
Right.
Also in
Yeah.
Sacramento
Oh wow.
and central Indiana. There's some other areas, another 5 megahertz. And then there's more areas with 5 megahertz. And there's more areas with 5 megahertz. That's why my market has 10 megahertz. They have the F block for 5. They have the G block for 5. Here's where they have 700 Moose. Dish. That's the N. That's the N29. But it's 5 megahertz only.
That's what I'm saying. Like 5x5, man. It's a dangerous situation.
Here's their AWS3. They have 20 by 20. So I can keep clicking on these AWSs and it goes national. Here's the AWS H, AWS4. They have 25 megahertz of it downlink and 15 megahertz of it uplink. I believe. Or maybe it's the opposite. It's N66 and N70 for the AWS piece.
So, like, does Boost densify, or do they just leave it at what they're left with?
They're not doing anything, bro.
They're not.
This is over. This Dish thing is over.
Man.
Here's the 3.45. So these, Moose, if I'm correct, 10 megahertz subblocks, right?
No, each is 5.
The DoD?
Oh no, sorry. The DoD. I'm looking at this now. Yeah, it's 10. Yeah.
Okay. So here's 10 megahertz of the G block, 10 megahertz of the H block, 10 megahertz of the I block. They have that nationwide. And 10 megahertz of the J block nationwide. So they're 20 megahertz nationwide, I and J. These places, they have an additional 10. And then these places, they have additional 10. So they have 40 megahertz in Cleveland. So AT&T will have 80 megahertz of DoD in Cleveland. So that'll be 80 plus 80 will be 160.
Okay.
So N77.
Cuyahoga County.
Yeah. Here's the CBRS pals. They have some of those. I feel like Verizon should be in the market for those. Holy cow. Dish has a few counties of C-band.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It's in Wyoming.
What?
And I guess Wyoming.
Oh,
It's
what?
the eastern third. It's the eastern third of the state.
Oh, N77. So is that deployed, or is that just licenses?
They've never deployed anything in N77.
Okay, so they just have a license too.
Yeah.
There's some areas, Sneed, where they actually have true fixed wireless.
Yeah, but that was on 600 even before the merger.
What? Hold on. A Dish had fixed wireless?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's areas in Ohio where Dish sells fixed wireless access.
Seriously?
They've been doing it for years.
Yeah, they did it over the 600. They didn't even it was
So it wasn't good?
It was fine. It was like a SIM card installed into a modem, and they did it off of
it was like a hotspot plan from Project Genesis or something?
No, this is way before
it was a
Genesis.
true fixed wireless. It's like one of those rural things, or whatever you want to call it.
Interesting.
I'm sorry, what were you gonna say, Moose?
I was saying that this is a very, very interesting situation here. Some markets only have 5x5 of the 600 megahertz. Yeah, like Tucson, Phoenix. Yeah.
You notice that's the areas where the Dish network struggles.
Yeah.
But see, for AT&T, they already have a crap ton of low band carriers. So this is all supplemental. Like N71 is not going to have to carry the mail of the AT&T network. PCS is going to do that. Band 12 is going to do that. Right? AWS is going to do that. C-band is going to do that.
Sneed, your audio is a little muffled.
You know what I'm thinking now that I see this map from Spectrum Omega?
Which map, Moose? Which carrier?
I was looking at the 600 megahertz map. I think you can now estimate which areas AT&T is going to attack first with 600 megahertz, because it's obvious. You're going to do block A and block F immediately and try to figure out a way to get those contiguous
Why?
10 by
Because
10.
it's because of the markets.
Yeah, because look at block A, perfect example. That's majority of your top, actually, majority of your rural, actually. So Houston's included in there, Austin's included in there, Dallas is
No, you
included in
got
there.
SoCal.
Right.
You
Block
have
A.
Vegas. Yeah, Block A.
Right. Then block F, if you were to click on block
Carolinas. You got
F,
Texas, Houston. Block
block
F.
F, you have Cleveland's there, both on F
Yeah,
and G.
yeah. But it's a lot of Florida.
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 We got to respond to EM's comment because there's a couple answers to this. I think
Which one? Which
the one,
comment?
the one where it's like straight up scam by Charlie. How raw of a deal AT&T got. Here's what we got. First off, did we say that maybe T-Mobile was looking to make an offer?
I mean, I personally believe that AT&T overpaid.
Well, yeah, no, for sure, no doubt about that.
I mean, but I don't think there was an option. I think Verizon was at the table. I think T-Mobile was also at the table, and I think AT&T was the highest bidder.
Yeah,
and if you think about it, it only makes sense that they are willing to overpay because the DoD isn't requiring additional hardware. Like the hardware has already been going up, so it only makes sense that they're just gonna deepen the channel.
Yeah.
The 600, bro, they probably overpaid for by a lot.
But you know what, Sneed? If you really think about it, AT&T has overpaid for a lot of shit. They've overpaid for DirecTV. They overpaid for Warner Media, and
But
look
that's
where
so
it's
long
at.
ago, and they don't even have those assets anymore.
That's my point.
Well, yeah, but that was a
That's
different.
my point.
Okay, Brandon, that was under Randall. Randall was not like staying.
Yeah, but the company still has that
Brandon,
tradition.
But check this out. They didn't overpay for DoD at auction.
I mean,
they're overpaying for it now. They didn't overpay for it before.
But I'm talking about companies.
To EM's point about them overpaying, my growing theory, maybe this is completely wrong. AT&T didn't want to look like they were leaving Echostar with nothing. If they had underpaid, or if they had paid half of what they paid or anything, it would seem like Echostar was getting too little and they were left with too little, and then AT&T's getting whatever they're getting, a little bit here and there. Pretty much what this is. So they're definitely overpaid. I think it's more like they don't want to leave. They don't want to leave Charlie with too little.
Look, here's what I know, right? I just watched Verizon pay down a crap ton of debt, and then they buy Frontier. I just watched AT&T pay down a crap ton of debt, and then spin off a bunch of businesses. They then buy Lumen, and then half of Dish. Like, this is really happening right now.
Half? That's kind of old.
They didn't buy half a Dish? Really?
Well,
I mean, with Tropicana in the office.
much of their network.
Hold on. What is Dish's best asset?
No, I mean, I guess they bought a good portion of the network.
Their deepest channel is DoD. That's not millimeter wave.
But I'm saying as a competitor.
Their reaching band is N71.
No, for sure.
And AT&T bought both.
They bought much of the network. I'm saying as a competitor in the space, yes, people are going to be on AT&T more. It's going to be more MVNO than MNO, but there's still technically a national MNO as it remains.
Well, they're a hybrid.
Yeah. Hybrid probably good.
They've gone from 60% MNO to 40% MNO.
Yeah. I was thinking the same thing Ian just said about the AWS4, because when I joined this thing, I was like, is them losing N71 really making a difference? Because everything I've heard about the Boost network, the native network, all of my experience on this network and all of the experience I've heard from other people has pretty much been just N70, just been that performance and that range. Like N70 does have really good range, at least from my experience and other experiences I've seen. So I think with AWS4, they're still they've still got somewhat of a national network.
Yeah, but that's not the point. The point is for AT&T, the N77 piece is more important. That's
for
why
sure.
they got it, and they didn't go for the AWS.
No, I'm talking about what Boost has left.
Yeah, they got the N29, 5 megahertz.
Yeah.
And they have N70 and N66.
Right.
They have CBRS, but they haven't built it. They have millimeter wave, but they haven't built it.
Yeah. I think a lot of that unbuilt stuff, especially the millimeter wave, they should just sell also.
But it's not even like national, and it's such a high frequency. I don't know, man.
Well, then what would they do?
Gigahertz, dude.
Well, then what are they gonna do?
Like count out Charlie.
Like Charlie just like bought anything he could. He just everything he saw that he could get his hands on.
Yo, B, what up?
Oh man.
Come on, everybody. Come on. What's going on? What's going on?
Hey, man. We got another super chat. Red Rep. Thank you, man. That's the second one of the evening. He said, I love looking at
what a day.
On a county level on Spectrum Omega in Ohio. Sneed, check it out. All right, I'll do that now. County level.
What a day.
Hey, Sneed. I'm still sticking to my story, sir. I mean, to my prediction.
Which is?
Comcast and Charter will buy T-Mobile.
All right, let's stop this. Let's stop this.
I was literally laughed at when I said AT&T would buy Dish, and look what happened.
Brandon,
and then T-Mobile. I literally said T-Mobile will buy US Cellular. Look where it's at now.
Brandon, you got me laughing with me. Come on,
bro. But look. This is what I think. This is what I think is going to happen.
Hold on. The cable cartel is buying T-Mobile.
Yeah.
No.
And the reason why I say that, dude, because I have a feeling they're going to get rid of NBC Universal.
So just Brandon, let's stop the cable talk. Okay, we're not going to talk cable.
No, but for real, it will happen.
It won't.
Yes, they will. It will either happen likely next year.
Confirmed, Moose. AT&T will have 80 megahertz of DoD in Cuyahoga County.
You got Brandon coming out here, rage baiting everyone.
We got an EM Tech sighting.
What up?
EM, what up, man?
I heard B come in here, so I had to make an appearance.
Exactly, man. Exactly.
Yeah.
So we're gonna talk about the absolute raw deal that this is. 23.
Did they get them raw dog? EM? Was it raw dog?
It's a lot of money, man.
$1 billion.
It's a lot of money.
$3 billion, Sneed. That is half of what Verizon paid for almost 200 megahertz of contiguous C-band nationwide.
Bro, listen. Let me tell you something, bro.
Unreal.
All that matters right now is that Space Mob, these ASTS guys, think that all this spectrum is going to ASTS.
Maybe it will. Maybe it will.
Hold on. Sneed, you said in the AT&T press release they are not densifying with this spectrum.
They are not densifying. This is literally to avoid densification.
So here's my theory. You want my big brain theory on this?
I do.
I don't think AT&T has any intentions of deploying that 600 megahertz spectrum. I think they want to use it as leverage to get spectrum from T-Mobile.
Here we go.
No. Listen. There's a lot of times where companies will acquire spectrum simply to use it as leverage for a spectrum swap with a competitor.
What do they want from T-Mobile, sir?
They're 700.
5 megahertz of 700.
Yeah. It's contiguous with what they already have in those markets. And then they don't have to go and climb a tower to go put another radio up.
It's going to be a swap for the spectrum, but they're going to want cash too. Because band 71 is deeper in terms of the channel bandwidth.
I mean,
so they're going to swap all that 10 megahertz N71 for 5 megahertz of band 12. No, it's going to be the band 12 plus cash.
I mean, most of these areas where Dish has 600 megahertz, it's 5x5.
That's not true.
Yes, it is.
No.
Yes, it is.
No. Some markets that's true, but it's a minority. A large majority of the country is 10 megahertz.
Tell me where exactly. Cuyahoga County, because that's one of the few places I'm seeing where it's 10 megahertz. The rest of this is very discontiguous. They have 5 here and 5 there.
Right, did they buy 20 megs of contiguous 600?
No, they bought most of it's 5x5.
Oh my god, that makes it even worse.
That's what I'm saying, bro. That's what I'm saying. So this is a 20? Raw deal.
Right, okay, hold on, right here, bro. Here we are. Nationwide. Here's the map. I'm going to do the first block, block A. That's 5 megahertz, okay?
Yep.
Block B. It's another 5.
So you got 1,
block
2,
C.
3 or 4 PEAs where it's contiguous.
Okay, here's another block. This is block C. Here's block D. Here's block E. Here's block F. Here's block G. These 2 blocks right here are the places where they have 10.
Look at where it overlaps. There's a handful of PEAs where it overlaps.
But this is just blocks F and G. Here's block A.
Look at where A overlaps with B.
A and B?
Yeah. They have to be right next to each other for them to be contiguous. That's what contiguous means.
Right, but what I'm saying is you have 5 megahertz in block A across, what does that look like, EM? About 70% of the geographic range?
Right.
Okay. Small.
And then B that blocks it, that
small.
B that goes into C, C that goes into D is very few PEAs. This is not good spectrum.
But F and G.
I think there's going to definitely be, Brendan Carr, massive intervention to get contiguous blocks.
To clean this up is what you're saying.
It's already happened once this year.
$23 billion.
He's not going to do it again.
$23 billion. That is a lot to get a bunch of piecemeal spectrum though. I thought the 20 megs.
The bulk of the money is this. It's 10, 20, 30, 40 megahertz of bandwidth across, 40 in some places, 30 in most.
Josh, are you there?
So, Sneed, show me a map of the 20 megs or 600 megs that they bought.
I can't see a single PEA where they have 20.
New York. Nope. Hold on. 5, 10, 15, 20.
Okay, yeah, so one PEA, they have 20.
I just noticed that it was New York. So it's G, F, E. Some places they have 15, it looks like.
So it looks like it's not contiguous. So
Sacramento and New York have 20, and then there's many more places that have, like South Florida, for example, San Francisco, Sacramento. I don't know. It's not much of 15. It's mostly 10 and some 5s.
I'd say the majority of it's 5. And if they have 10, it's discontiguous, and
then they have, which I don't understand, bro. I still think AT&T should got the 700 from them. Like, it's 5 megahertz national. You already have 5 megahertz national as AT&T. Like, why didn't you do that?
It's downlink only. It's bad spectrum.
Yeah, but who doesn't need the downlink support? It wouldn't have costed much.
Your limiting factor for coverage is always your uplink. Putting more on the downlink doesn't help.
So you need it to be paired.
Correct, especially in the era of TDD and mid-band spectrum. A downlink only low band carrier like N29 makes no difference.
This is where the cost is. B, this is where the cost is from. It's from the 3.45. It's the 20, 30, 40 megahertz of bandwidth across all these PAs. That's where most of this cost is. But yeah, they overpaid. They overpaid, in my opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. I mean, they did overpay. I think the 3.45 is definitely going to help them. They were suffering in that particular space because, at least compared to, Verizon and T-Mobile, they just didn't have as much. Now they've closed the gap a little bit, and that's great. But to EM's point, I really did think that they had 600 megs that was going to be contiguous across the country. If it's piecemeal, then, I mean, doesn't make the deal feel as sweet. And for $23 billion, I mean, that's half of what they paid for the first swath of 3.45 during the original C-band auction.
So let's do some napkin math here. AT&T's first round in the C-band auction, they spent $27 billion.
Yep.
In the in the 3.45 auction, they spent $9.1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
They then now just spent another $23 billion.
Mm-hmm.
That puts them well over what Verizon spent at 52.
This is what I was telling you about getting cute with Spectrum.
Well,
in the long term, you end up having to pay more for it.
Well, and with
this
all
is why
that,
Verizon bought what they bought when they bought it.
With all that money they spent, again, we keep going back to this, they're still not going to have the same like mid-band coverage as Verizon and T-Mobile.
Price increase is still going to go up though.
Here's what I said about price increases. Here's what I said about price increases earlier in the show. AT&T's billing system is a random number generator. Every month they feel like charging you a different amount. So it's like proactive price increases. It's not like a mass increase that affects everyone. It's just proactive increases.
Well, I can't speak to that. I'm not sure. I don't know about that. I guess I'll stay quiet about that part. But
I just got done testing AT&T.
Yeah, I definitely feel like they feel probably empowered to start jacking up those prices in 2026 in order to help pay for some of this stuff. They're really the only carrier that hasn't pushed the price increase button as much as Verizon and T-Mobile have. So I think those days are probably numbered for AT&T customers.
You know where I stand on that, but we're not going to go there.
What you mean the prepaid stuff, or what happened, Max?
The price increase stuff.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I do want to bring this up. I don't want this to be a poo-poo on AT&T parade for me, but let's also keep in mind the combo radio panel that they have been deploying for this. The Ericsson 6472 has reduced beam width and reduced power per channel for that DoD spectrum. There's less power to go around for that DoD the wider that channel gets, which means they are going to be able to cover less than what, for example, Verizon can do with their.
Which vendor is that?
It's the Ericsson DoD C-band radio.
The combo one, which they're probably going to put on all these sites?
Correct. So they are going to be able to cover less while broadcasting more spectrum because they have to deploy a single radio solution because they cannot load these towers.
There's no more space, bro. They're already a cluster up there. This is what were you here in the beginning of the show?
I was listening, yeah.
Okay, so I definitely brought that up. I literally thought of you. I'm like, there's no way we feel good about 19 radios on a cell site.
Right, and they pay more, and they pay more for that lease space. They then run into issues where loading is a problem, where other carriers have already put up their equipment. Like this is going to be an ongoing problem for AT&T, and it is going to slow down their build massively because
they're not going to compromise PCS and AWS.
That's what I'm saying.
They're not going to compromise. Like they're going to compromise band 29. They're going to compromise band 30. Like those things, like they're just going to sacrifice it. They're going to say no reason to. Those are downlink only anyways.
My God, that is a lot of money for a bunch of spectrum that's not contiguous across the country. My
That's what I'm saying, bro.
I had a completely different perspective until you.
Bro, listen,
that's why you to go, man.
I'm convinced that there was bidding, and T-Mobile was at the table. Verizon was at the table, but they weren't willing to pay this, and AT&T was.
Yeah, I don't think Verizon's going to buy any more spectrum right now, unless it's from the government via an actual auction. I don't see Verizon buying anything right now. I think Verizon's probably comfortable with their portfolio.
But you got to remember, like AT&T, they just enhanced their MVNO agreement with Dish too. So there's going to be more usage of Dish on the AT&T network. That's more wholesale revenue. Yeah. So they probably feel good about that. So they're like, okay, well, we have that going for us. And then obviously this DoD thing is going to be huge for selling internet air. And
wait. Hold on. Didn't they say that, didn't AT&T offer Dish like $0 access to their network or something?
I've heard people say that, but I've never had anyone be able to substantiate that.
Well, no, I don't think that's true because they still impose data limits for roaming. So I think they're getting it really cheap. They're getting it cheaper than other carriers, but in general, AT&T's doing MVNO access really cheap.
I don't know anybody who does anything for free. I really,
Right.
so I can't.
But
how am I
AT&T is
supposed to
selling
do anything?
themselves low. They are selling themselves low, though. Look at what US Mobile's doing with Darkstar. They're selling like the craziest stuff for crazy cheap. I think that's on AT&T's end. Like, they're giving them the ability to do that.
Never count out Charlie, bro. Never count out Charlie.
This doesn't seem like a win for AT. This seems like they got scammed. Like,
no, they just
Charlie took them to Vegas, bro.
No, listen, bro. AT&T's network is going to be better, but they overpaid. They overpaid.
It's going to be better. Quote on. Yeah, I'm doing air quotes right now. Better.
All right. How many people here have done an eBay auction before?
I've done plenty of eBay auctions.
Right. So sometimes when it's like the last 30 seconds, you think you're winning. You think you're like, I got this thing secured. I got a good price.
And then the rug pull.
And then the rug pull. Someone comes in and offers $10, $20 higher than you offered. And you're in panic mode because you kind of still want the item. And you had a price you liked. I'm like, okay, you're in this panic mode. So you're like, hey, $15, $20 more for this item. It's not that much more. So last second you put it in and you're like, oh shit, I've overpaid for this. After shipping, after taxes, after all that stuff. I think AT&T is desperate to get more. And that's where they're at.
I will say this, Verizon or T-Mobile better heavily consider going in on that AWS-4.
Well, maybe Verizon and T-Mobile offered a fair price, like an actually decent price for what AT&T bought, but then AT&T came in like, no, we want it.
I remember correctly, I think, okay, so Dish paid $13.5 billion for the DoD and the 600 they just sold to AT&T. They paid $13.5 billion. They sold it for 23. So
call me crazy, but I don't think Verizon needs any more spectrum right now. I think they have more than enough to compete.
I think they need more AWS. I strongly believe that Verizon needs more AWS.
Well, if they got more AWS, that would be a game changer for their network because the AWS is national.
Right, that's what I'm saying. A national license.
If it's contiguous, I mean, I think it'd be great, but I mean, who's giving that away? Or who's selling that for a reasonable price? Like, I think they'd have
paid for AWS 4, AWS H, $16 billion back in 2016.
So you got to think they're going to sell it for at least 16. I mean,
they want 30. They want 30 billion.
That's not a reasonable price. That's why I don't think, at least for now, I can't see, unless it's a government auction, I can't see Verizon paying anything else right now.
People don't know this. People don't know this, B, but the AWS auction in 2016 generated more revenue per megahertz pop than C-band.
I hear you, Sneed. $52 billion. That's a lot of money.
They want 30 billion for that spectrum. I promise you.
There's no way. I mean, somebody might pay for it. I don't think it's going to be Verizon. That's a lot of money.
I don't think anybody's going to pay 30 billion.
Yeah.
I think that price has to come down substantially just to get it sold.
So it definitely won't be Big Red.
Oh, we're talking about,
and obviously it's not going to be AT&T.
Yeah,
and obviously it's not going to be T-Mobile. They're cutting capex.
Yeah,
they're doing everything else with they're buying little fiber guys. Like they're busy.
I think out of all the carriers, Verizon could utilize a national hold spectrum holding that they could throw an NR.
Would they buy 10 by 10?
Or even if they didn't even bother with the AWS-H and they just bought because the AWS-H is 5 by 5, right? If they bought that,
what's that going to do?
It gives them an NR carrier that they can put on NR without hurting their LTE network.
You want me to be honest? I think that Verizon would have their energy better served advocating to the federal government to allow
for a higher frequency.
For CBRS to go
for higher power. Okay.
That's that too. That too. I think Verizon needs to do that.
They
I think
already have huge swaths of CBRS. If they
could
were
buy that
allowed to
from
do full power, if they were allowed to go full power on that, I mean, that's pretty close to C-band from a range standpoint as is. They wouldn't need anything else.
But B, check this out, right? They have 30 to 40 megahertz in PAs, right? The major PAs, top 100 or something.
Yeah.
If they got the rest of the CBRS from Dish, that'd be 70 to 80 megahertz of PALs.
I'd rather them do that, especially if they can get it full power.
Well, that's what I'm saying is if you have the full licensed portion of the band, the FCC would be more willing to give you more power in that, right? There'd be no noise.
Well, I'd say buy that before I'd say buy AWS4.
Wow.
Just being honest, because honestly,
what would you rather have? 10 megahertz of AWS paired or all the CBRS hoping that it goes higher power?
I just gave you my answer.
I think at that point, because see, here's the problem with the CBRS is AT&T's got their grubby little fingers all in that agreement. That's what I don't like. And AWS is AWS. It propagates, it reaches, especially in a 20 by 20 chunk. Like, you're talking about a significant capacity layer on top of what you already have.
For those who don't know, AWS Spectrum is what gave us high quality video resolution to our smartphones. I don't know if you guys know that, but that's basically the advanced LTE.
Oof, what did this guy say? Chicago man, I work as a site acquisition agent and this news is devastating. For Dish it is, absolutely.
Well, and so here's what I'm thinking.
Say goodbye to their colos.
Maybe they're not going to say goodbye to their AWS4. Maybe they're going to keep what they have left so they can be as MNO as possible.
Bro, their network just lost.
Oh, for sure.
That's 70% of its range.
Oh, for sure. That's why I'm saying they'll keep what they got.
This deal hurts Dish big time in Florida, especially in Jacksonville.
It's pronounced Florida.
All right, the Sunshine State where palm trees sway.
I mean, nobody. Let's be honest. Nobody. I mean, Dish barely had any customers, so nobody really cares about.
7 million, sir.
I like how B like. You know what? I'm gonna correct Austin. I'm gonna go all in, and I'm just.
Hold on a second, bro. Hold on.
Real really talk. Not a lot of customers.
We said never count out Charlie. Me and Max were right.
I told y'all to count them out. I don't know why y'all.
No. We're not doing that. Not tonight. Me and Maximus have been vindicated.
Charlie till
never count out Charlie. He finds a way. He will survive. Man,
all he did was become an MVNO. What are we talking about right now? He just swindled John Stanky's crazy hind pots.
He survived, bro.
He just went up to John Stanky and rubbed his dome like a genie bottle and got $23 billion, dude.
I would say it actually played out different. I think he teabagged him, bro.
Well, yeah, that is more accurate, bro. Like,
and it wasn't even
a lot of
contiguous.
money.
Like, thank you. What were you thinking? It wasn't even contiguous. Oh man, that makes it way worse, man. I didn't know that.
The problem is simply the price. The spectrum is fantastic. There's nothing wrong with any of it. It's just the price. There's no value. You overpaid. That's it.
Do you remember what Roger said that one time? You don't make a deal with Charlie unless
you either get him over a barrel or you get yourself over a barrel.
Yeah.
Well, at least someone got over a barrel on like Cracker Barrel.
Who is this guy?
Yo, this is Austin, bro. Hey guys, it's me, Austin.
Turn a Cracker Barrel into Chipotle.
I do agree with this Chicago man, what he said. He said, I care about Dish. I care that our nation allows competition instead of all businesses going to just a few major corporations.
Yeah, they had 14 customers. Come on, there was never a competition.
Bro, let's talk, you want to talk about corporate feudalism?
Hold on, bro. Nobody in the industry was selling lines for $25 except Boost.
No, that's wrong.
Chicago man, Illinois is right.
No, and yet they still had 14 customers. Come on.
Hold on, Sneed.
Everyone's like 7 million.
He said he works in site acquisition. Hang on. He said he works in site acquisition, so he knows. You've got what? SBA, ATC, Vertical Bridge.
Right.
You've got Tillman. You talk about corporate feudalism. You've got private equity and large corporations on the backside of this that own
All
the
up in
entire
there.
infrastructure, anyways. So who cares?
Yeah.
Vertical Bridge is the largest tower owner in the continental U.S.
And who invested in them, sir?
Verizon.
I mean, I'm just saying. I wasn't gonna say anything. I'm glad somebody else said it, not me.
7 million not equal to 14. 7 million is a lot.
That's equivalent to like 18 customers.
Okay,
Everybody.
Yo, P needs to chill.
Yeah, if you want to talk about corporate feudalism, it has existed within telecom for decades, whether you realized it or not.
Look at T-Mobile.
Yeah, T-Mobile has been the single biggest proponent of company acquisition over the last 5 years.
And they never, and no one bats an eye, no one tells them no through, I guess, 2 administrations, because we're back in the one we had prior to the last one. Nothing, no, everything goes. Nothing gets rejected.
Well, this is what the American people voted for, so we got to kind of go with it.
So, B, let me ask you something. Do you really think, the average voter is thinking about, is their FCC going to give T-Mobile everything they want?
That's irrelevant. Look, when you fill out the Scantron, you fill out the Scantron, man. It is what it is. You have to live with it. We all do.
Man,
it is what it is.
People are not voting based off of telecom. They could care less. The only time they're going to get annoyed is if there's a cable man in their backyard and they're like, "What are you doing walking on my private property?" It's the only time people get annoyed at telecom.
That's irrelevant too, man. I mean, it is what it is. You have to take the good with the bad. That's who America collectively voted for. So, I mean, what can I say? It is what it is, man.
Say less.
What did Zero Cool say? If you guys think about what happened with U.S. Cellular, Dish is now in the same boat.
Yeah.
And
pretty much.
Yeah, they're selling out. Yeah,
they're selling out, but they didn't completely sell out
because nobody has the money to spend $30 billion on AWS.
Someone's got some mad background noise. I don't know if it's you.
Sorry,
I don't know.
that was me.
Man. Somebody's wrestling in a pile of leaves, bro.
Yeah. What did Chicago Man say? We had some serious momentum for Dish obtaining leases with property owners yesterday. Today it came to a grinding halt. That's so sad. Yeah, dude, that's
you're living
sucks,
it, man. All your hard work and all your commitment to that effort kind of ends, man. Sorry.
Sorry to hear that, man.
Job.
That really sucks.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, but I mean, it was Boost, so I mean, they were pretty much on the chopping block for a long time. I'm not sure why anybody would say otherwise on that one. Definitely sad news.
Sneed, what do you think about the super deals from US Mobile this week? Unlimited premium for $299 a year.
Oh, it's phenomenal. Yeah, get on it while you can. I think that's ending in like 1 or 2 days, so get on that while you can.
How are they making money, Maximus?
Well, I think AT&T is giving them a real sweet deal. They're giving it to Boost, they're giving it to US Mobile. And while we're here, if you're gonna get US Mobile, please consider, helping the brother out. And
I get that Tesla, dog.
I know. Yeah, I'm about to get that in a couple weeks. So
see what I mean?
Well, he'll know.
I keep telling y'all about Max. Keep telling y'all about that, man. Yo.
Sorry, it was me. It was me ruffling around with the pile of leaves. Okay, it was a bag because I was organizing things. And
Toolman wants to know: is AT&T going to remove the equipment off the cell site, or are they going to leave them to rot? Are you referring to Boost Mobile's network? Because all that stuff's going to be there. You got to remember they're still going to be broadcasting N29, and they're still going to be broadcasting AWS. So those radios are still all functional. AT&T, I mean, they're going to be doing a climb for the 600. They're doing Ericsson conversions, so like, yeah, there's a lot that's going to happen on these cell sites.
Unless Ian was right, and they're just kind of, they bought that 600 megs just to kind of.
What low band NR carrier have they deployed?
N5 in a lot of places.
So it's the same situation as Verizon.
Correct.
I mean, for now.
And band 12 will not go NR for 15 years.
Yeah, I was about to say it can. So, yeah.
I don't think they acquired enough national licenses for that 600 for it to make that much of an impactful difference on their network. I just don't. And when you're talking about it, with the way that AT&T has designed
But
their
why would they
sites,
spend all that money for arbitrage, bro?
because Spectrum is leverage with your competition. That's what it boils down
And
to.
what did you propose they would want from T-Mobile again?
Additional 700 megahertz.
Okay, so then I
Or-
stand
or-
by
or
my
even
I stand by my
potentially-
earlier I stand by my earlier statement. They're going to want cash and the 5 megahertz of band 12 national.
Or maybe they want some additional PCS or AWS spectrum from
That yeah, that could work
US
too.
Cellular.
True that.
You know,
True
because
that.
T-Mobile got a significant amount T-Mobile got a significant amount of AWS and PCS spectrum from US Cellular. If there is
I mean,
any
is that-
sort of leverage that AT&T would want to use to get some of that, where they are, I'm going to call it high band deficient, you know, your AWS PCS.
Would you quantify that to be about 10 to 15% of the geographic US?
Give or take.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying is like it's going to be sort of piecemeal here, there. We don't have enough AWS in this PEA, or there, let's say 5 or 10 PEAs. We'll trade you all of this 600 we bought that's fragmented all over the country for, you know, what we want, right? And I'm sure T-Mobile would be willing to do that.
Do you think the FCC has to get involved to clean all this up, or do you think the carriers can do it themselves?
I think that depends. It depends on how willing they are to play ball with each other. That
They typically don't. It has to be really, really even for them to typically do this.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't see FCC intervention being like a thing that happens on a grand scale between AT&T and its competitors. But when you think about the logistics of them deploying 600 megahertz with the way that their sites are designed currently, they typically have two antennas that they use for 4-way transmit on their low band, right?
Mm-hmm.
Their radios are 4x4.
Mm-hmm.
They have one radio for band 12 and band 5, one radio for their FirstNet and 14.
Right.
4 jumpers, 4
Mhm.
jumpers. You've got 2 antennas with 4 ports each. That means they would have to then go hang an additional antenna for that 600, or diplex it in. And if you diplex it in, you're losing out on some RF. They're not going to
They're not gonna harm the band 14 broadcast.
Right.
They already don't have it on all the sites, so they're not gonna do that.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't see it being feasible for them to go out and deploy 600 on all these sites where they
Those sites are so cluttered, bro.
Exactly. And that's why that leads me to believe that this is a leverage play for more spectrum that they can just deploy with software, aka AWS and PCS.
You think, I mean, Moose proposed this earlier. He said the move to Open RAN really opens things up. I mean, how much can really be accomplished? We know that there's a hardware thing in this, you know?
Open RAN doesn't do shit for you when you're talking about physical jumpers on an antenna.
Like, you still got to get a radio that can transmit. I mean, Ian's right. You still got to get a radio.
Point. It's like the RAN, the actual gear that you're putting up on these cell sites. AT&T typically has these massive antennas for their low band carriers, like these still kind of large antennas for like PCS, AWS, and then at least to Ohio, they're putting up 2 N77 radio and antenna airs. Like, it's a lot of stuff up there. It's a lot.
Right, and they also already have to use more expensive multi-port antennas to support the WCS on top of that, the band 30.
And they turn off radios at night. And like, they're always looking at cost. And this is why I said what I said about them not densifying. This is all really murky.
And if you want to complicate things even more, not to go off on a tangent here, the power, the DC power, and the fiber pairs that AT&T has put on all their sites are not future-proof, which means they're going to have to run an additional hybrid cable and attach an additional ray cap up there for all these more radios.
Bro, the next person who ever says shit about One Touch, I'm kicking you off the show. There is absolutely no such thing as an AT&T One Touch. It does not exist. They're climbing up these damn sites every other year.
Hey, Sneed, I can speak for that One Touch comment because I live in a state where we get hurricanes. And
Well, it's a little
there's
different,
stuff.
Austin.
There's stuff in.
You know.
I know, but there's stuff still in South Florida I could nitpick at that is still broken off of AT&T that hasn't been fixed in 3 years.
Austin, how do we say it?
Florida.
Man, do I want to say it from the north or do I want to say it from the south? The place where there's swamp puppies, all right?
What about the skunk apes? Do you guys have those?
No, they all followed Ricky to Vegas.
But that's where my logic and reasoning comes from as far as the 600 megahertz goes. Sneed. It just does not seem feasible for AT&T to deploy that, especially when you look at the way that
if they didn't have
cost
7
is.
radios already up on a site, would you still feel that way?
Yeah, but I mean they don't have 7 radios; they got like 15. Like most of their sites have 5 radios per sector, 5 to 6 radios per sector.
Oh, I'm speaking to a sector. So if they didn't have 7 radios on a sector, would you still feel the same way?
No, I wouldn't. I would not. You're
Right.
correct.
All right.
And you have to also keep in mind that there are other sites that have not been quote unquote one touched by AT&T that are even a bigger mess, where they have 4 or 5 antennas per sector and like 7 or 8 radios per. It's insane. It's
Well,
absolutely insane.
Maybe people will understand now why I have my position on AT&T. They have forced themselves into these scenarios because they played cute, trying to do things in a very thrifty way. And in the long run, it might cost you a little, it might cost you a lot, but it's going to cost you. And this is what we just saw play out. They had to overpay to accomplish what they wanted. They literally just got their debt down, and now here we are. You know what I'm saying, Ian?
Yeah, they are the kings of inefficiency.
They are absolute. And you know what? I mentioned that to someone on Twitter today, on X. You know, the space mob from ASTS. And yeah, you just can't get through to these people. There's no such thing as a one touch. That's like a unicorn. That's not a thing.
Well, I guess Moose can't joke me anymore and say, "Oh, AT&T's got less debt than Verizon." Not anymore.
Toolman, they won't take over the dish rack because then they would be paying 2 leases per tower that they're on, and that's assuming they're co-located on the same tower. They won't do that.
Bro, the Dish network just got really weak sauce over here, bro. I'm not happy about this.
I think it was a move of desperation.
It's 100% desperation. Charlie owed $22 billion in unsecured debt. He got $23 billion at a stanky.
Well, they had 14 customers, guys. What do you expect?
Yeah, I'm gonna seriously, bro. We're gonna seriously. You better stop disrespecting the Boost Mobiles, bro.
We need to stop this, okay? They had 7 customers. I mean, come on.
7 million.
7 million.
That's a drop in the pan compared to the rest of the competitors.
No, actually, it's like
actually looked at as the 4th competitor. Stop it.
It's like a 4th or a 5th of what the others have. Let's pull up numbers.
It's a sham mockery.
I have a good question. So is Sweaty Armpits complaining?
Sweaty Armpits is not.
He doesn't care. This accomplished exactly what he wanted. This accomplished exactly what T-Mobile wanted. They never wanted a 4th competitor.
Yeah, but T-Mobile was never going to get the spectrum from Dish directly.
Well, T-Mobile
but they got rid of a competitor. They got rid of the 4th.
They didn't get rid of them. This is just it's reconstructed. They're just more MVNO than they are MNO.
Exactly.
Yeah,
they're done. They don't have a national network anymore.
But if they want it, but B, what I'm saying is Sweaty Armpits would be annoyed that it didn't go to him. It went to AT&T. AT&T is the thorn in T-Mobile's side.
Okay, but hold on.
It's 3 main competitors now.
T-Mobile
has exactly what T-Mobile wanted.
T-Mobile has all the
cable is kicking ass, bro. Stop playing.
They're not a competitor. They're not an MNO.
MVNO.
MNO. They take the large gross share of the ads every quarter.
But they're not an MNO. They have to pay somebody else to do that.
Right, but they don't need to be an MNO to be a competitor.
Right, and that's very true. But still,
caught up in semantics. I'm saying that they grow better than any MNO.
No, Sneed, I'm with you there, but we also have to talk about every single one of these carriers is powered by some underlying networks, and as good old Peter loves to talk about, he's been going on this for a while on X now. The MNOs are not giving the MVNOs the same access and the same
Why would
stuff
they,
to be able to compete. Well,
Why would they? Why would they? Would you? If it was your network, would you do that? Why would you empower someone else to take your customers? Of course, you're going to give a
If you're
lesser
building the
product.
network and you're dumping the billions, you have to have edge.
Exactly.
No.
So why would you ever allow an MVNO to come in
No, I got you, but
put less skin on the table to come and take it? That doesn't even make sense, Max. Nobody would do that.
I got you. That's why I'm saying, like, the fact that we've only got 3, like, more competition. Because eventually, when we have a 4th player, then it's going to get the ball rolling a little bit.
We won't have a 4th player. We won't, because everybody's going to want to do exactly what you're talking about, which is be an MVNO, get the scraps, and have just enough money to stay solvent. And that's a really good living for somebody. That's a good living for Chris Reynolds when, movies and stuff get a little dry. I mean, it's a great living. So that's what we're going to have. 3 main players and a bunch of table scrap MVNOs.
Yeah.
Chicago, man, I do agree with you. Their equipment took up about 50% less space, but they also didn't do half the shit that the other carriers are doing, which is
exactly
generators, mid-band radios. They didn't do any of the things that the other providers were doing. They did the bare minimum to get that spectrum on the air. If they were building it like a traditional telco, they would have needed all that space. But they were doing the bare minimum to satisfy their license and their agreement with the FCC to get their pops covered. So, as great as you make it sound, they weren't doing it out of the kindness of their heart. They were doing it because they were cheap.
Well, they only had 7 customers. So
exactly
7 million.
That's nothing. Like that's one city. What are we talking about? That's one city.
That's less than one city.
Come on. They had no customers. Everybody else in the MVNO world has over 100 million. Well, except for AT&T. Sorry about that. Everybody has at least 80 million customers. They got 7. Come on.
I would love to hear why Edvin thinks AT&T is the best position for the future.
That's weird.
That is a hot take.
They just overpaid for like.
There's always a batshit crazy somebody in the comments.
Yeah,
it never fails.
The only way that this all works out for AT&T is the N79, the 4.9 gigahertz. They get to climb all those on the FirstNet bill, and then they do all this other stuff at the same time, and then the Ericsson conversions, and then additional densification through FirstNet. That's it. It's going to have to be FirstNet that facilitates this whole thing.
Well, hold on.
FirstNet isn't facilitating, I'd have to disagree with Edvin.
I'm not the Chicago man. I'm not saying greater equipment equates to better service, but they were not doing what it does in a way, yes. But you also have to consider that they weren't supplying backup power to their cabinets. They weren't doing, they weren't adding high gain antennas for better reach on their low band. They weren't doing any of the things that the other providers are doing to offer a better network experience.
I think the biggest thing that we have to reconcile is the fact that AT&T had turned into the most uninspiring network when it came to wireless. It's passable in most instances, but it's really let people down in other ones. And I mean, even just watching all the growth over the last several quarters, 4 or 5 years, we could feel it in the network. You know what I'm saying, EM? I felt it.
So
right.
EM's
I also felt like the reliability has suffered a little bit. Like there's something to the engineering piece, right?
Let's hold on. I want to address Edvin's comment. FirstNet was not a strategic movement by AT&T. There was nothing strategic about it. It was a lifeline extended to AT&T by the government because they were falling apart.
I agree.
It was a lifeline.
I agree 100%.
Yup, that's facts.
Without FirstNet, AT&T would be in a worse position than Dish right now.
Absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely.
All right,
Yep.
I got you, Vartan. Here is the layman's terms of what just happened. Dish has greatly reduced its abilities as a mobile network operator. They are more MVNO today than they were MNO before, right? So
they were always an MVNO.
They sold some of their wireless spectrum to AT&T for $23 billion. It's, I guess, a higher mid-band frequency and then a lower frequency. So the Dish network, the Boost Mobile network, loses a really important low band frequency that was doing carrying a lot of the traffic on Boost. So that's going to heavily compromise their network. And the DoD was an investment strategy. So AT&T getting that from Dish is kind of a nothing burger, right? Like, it's good for AT&T, but it didn't change the life at Dish. So,
well, I saw the comment that Josh put in the chat, so I pulled up that post. I've been on the sharing. Echostar's president of technology and COO is out here being like, we're going to decommission Boost sites and become a hybrid MNO MVNO.
The hardest thing to do in this industry is build a network, maintain a network, and monetize a network. It's not easy. Like, Dish tried to do all this with $10 billion, like building it, and they bought Spectrum at all these auctions.
Yeah.
They bought 600, they bought DoD, they bought 700, they bought CBRS, they bought Spectrum, because they were appreciating assets, and here they are, in order to survive, selling assets.
Which is why I said, guys, they were never set up to be successful. T-Mobile always did what they did just so that their portion of the deal would go through, but they never intended for Boost to successfully compete as the fourth carrier. I mean, it didn't even last 10 years.
Edvin, if you could provide a source citation for that. I've never heard that Verizon and T-Mobile didn't bid on FirstNet. I never heard that.
T-Mobile was very adamant about wanting to be the FirstNet partner, if I remember correctly, and I don't think I'm misremembering that.
I've never heard the statement. Verizon and T-Mobile didn't bid on FirstNet. I never heard that before.
Here's what I'm wondering. Over the past 5 years, if this was what was going to happen anyway, why even do this whole tap dance of Boost Mobile? Why not just...
You know who you should call and ask? Macon Del Rahim, bro. The DOJ chief that did all this back in 2019.
Yeah. I already gave you guys the answer. It was so that T-Mobile would be allowed to purchase Sprint. They had to, quote-unquote, give up something, right? In order to, quote-unquote, promote competition, because they were going from 4 carriers to 3.
But then what did T-Mobile do to Dish every step of the way, B?
Obstruct. Yeah. Obstruct. Every chance they got.
Their neck, every single move, bro.
But then why did Charlie think he could do this? Did he have this false sense of confidence?
No, Charlie didn't want to lose the spectrum, so he just followed it, bro. And then here he is selling. This was the end game.
Yeah, but he could have done it sooner.
He really wants to sell the AWS, bro. By the way, they took AWS from him. He used to have more. He got caught lying about it. Remember, he did that shady stuff through those regional providers? Got the discount on the AWS. They took it from him. They're about to auction that, by the way.
Man.
Is it AWS 1? What is it?
I don't know which one it is, but they're about to auction it. I think it's AWS 3.
3? That's like a big part of their network at this point, now that half of it's gone, or 60% of it's gone. All they got left is 3 and 4.
Price is going up to 26, ladies and gentlemen. Keep that in mind.
All right, we're gonna save that talk for another time.
I wouldn't be surprised if prepaid pricing starts to inch up a little bit too.
Yep, of course.
Let's
I'm not lying.
Let's record this. Someone screen record and mark it so we can revisit B's comments if this becomes reality, and then when it becomes reality, B can go, "Told you so."
Hey man,
AT&T's whole thing is they do proactive price increases every month for every bill. It's a random number generator. Sometimes it's higher. They charge you whatever they feel like. It's not one set in stone price increase. They just keep charging people different prices each month.
All right. So Edvin posted this quote I guess this was disclosed from Verizon. We chose not to bid on the FirstNet RFP because it was essentially structured as a spectrum deal. We were not interested in commercializing FirstNet spectrum. Interesting. I never heard that. I never saw that quote. That must have been.
Who is he said? What is this? Who's being quoted here?
That must have been a network leader from VZ.
Okay. Do we have a link?
So we're talking about like 2016-ish, 2017-ish. Because I think FirstNet was like 2018. Huh.
Regardless of the way that I explained it, my point still stands, is that FirstNet was a lifeline to AT&T. If they did not receive that deal, if they were not awarded the contract, however you want to say it, they would not be in any position that they're anywhere close to where they are right now. They would still be operating a 3G network on their shitty, decrepit cell sites that they modernized in 2019 and 2020. It was a lifeline, 100%. Without it, AT&T would not have had the money to modernize their network because they were not generating the revenue that Verizon was. That's just facts.
It's facts.
The only carrier that has been able to organically keep up from a CapEx perspective is Verizon. T-Mobile required a merger. AT&T required a lifeline from the government. Let's keep it 100. That is the way that it played out.
The problem with AT&T during that era, EM, is the fact that they were overpaying for shitty assets. Remember, they bought they bought Warner Media and DirecTV, and they created $150 billion in debt with those two transactions. There was no money to rebuild the wireless network.
Right.
That was the real issue. It wasn't just that they had lagged in their wireless build. It was the fact that they put themselves in a vicious hole.
Right. And just to add on what he said, of course, he's talking about T-Mobile acquiring Sprint because nobody else did. They wouldn't have allowed anybody else.
No. Sprint was going to the only way Sprint was going anywhere was to T-Mobile. It was not going to go anywhere else.
If you
look, they weren't going to give it to AT&T. They weren't going to let Sprint go to Verizon. That wasn't going to happen.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. So clearly, you're misremembering the way the market was back then.
If you listen to the testimony, it was literally John Leisure, Marcello. We're not going to make it.
We're not going to make it.
We're not going. They were literally crying on the stand. We're not going to make it.
And they literally lied to the government to get that merger. I mean, they were literally saying lies. This is still, you can look up videos of this now.
Yeah, I'll get you in here, Edwin. That's cool. I got you.
They're talking about creating jobs. They're talking about going from 2 networks to 3. Like,
jobs positive, baby. Jobs positive.
Jobs positive.
That was such a scam, bro.
Go ahead and tap in, Edvin. Just get into the StreamYard, and I got you, man, right there.
All those people, those poor people that lost their jobs at Sprint, and now all the people at US Cellular who are going to lose their jobs because of that acquisition. I really feel for them.
With all due respect, Sprint was doing a really bad job at taking care of their customers. I don't know, man.
Yeah, but they're doing bad for their customers. But I'm talking about the people whose lives were ruined because T-Mobile acquired Sprint.
Well, I mean, they weren't doing a very good job taking care of their Sprint customers. I mean, just saying, man, Sprint was a dumpster fire.
People working at Sprint weren't the problem. It was the ownership of Sprint
that was the leadership. The leadership was the problem.
So now we're going to bail out customer service. You guys talk about customer service.
No, I'm not bailing out the customer service. I'm bailing out the people who made their livelihoods from Sprint, regardless of where they were, whether they were an engineer or a director, whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, a lot of them lost their jobs. Same thing's going to happen with US Cellular.
Glad to have
What's going on? Give me just 1 second. Let me get my headphones on real quick.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, man, we knew lots of Sprint people, and they did a hell of a job integrating the T-Mobile network and building out 2.5 and figuring that whole thing out. That was them, and then they were shown the door. You know, it's tough.
Yeah, T-Mobile leadership said, "Hey, thanks for building our network. See you later." Like,
Hey
come
man,
on.
hey man,
What's going
that's
on, guys?
T-Mobile for you. Good evening. How you doing, man?
Good, man. Good. So my point isn't that AT&T's the end all be all of carriers or that they deserve what they got or whatnot. It's just that they're the ones who bid on FirstNet. Yes, FirstNet has kept them alive and really pushed them forward these past, I guess, almost 10 years, but nobody else bid on it. And if they're going to deploy all of their available assets through FirstNet, like that's actually kudos to them. I don't see that as like, oh, shame on AT&T, because Verizon would do it if they could.
Agreed.
T-Mobile would do it if they could. Just like T-Mobile bought Sprint, like you guys were saying accurately, they were the only ones who could have bought them because of the way that they structured everything and convinced the government. Like that's kudos to them. That shouldn't be
Nah,
like,
they-
oh,
Yeah, like-
they screwed up. No, they did a great job.
Come on,
Verizon
B,
and
really?
AT&T would
got
have
lucky.
they would
They got
have
lucky.
died to be able to do the same thing. They just didn't think it was necessary, and now they're eating their words. AT&T is, and certainly Verizon. Verizon, in my opinion, is the biggest loser here. They're spending all their own. I mean, you
Here we
can
go.
laugh, but
Here
they're
we go.
spending
Here
all.
we go.
they're
Let's go. I'm ready.
They're spending all their own money while T-Mobile was given a gift by the government to buy Sprint and
Right.
take all their assets. And AT&T's over here having the last laugh because they're not spending any of their own money. They're just using the government money. Verizon's the only one who has to spend their own money, and it's going to hurt them in the long run. Maybe not today, but look at 5 years from now. People like you can look. AT&T does not have the churn.
Right? Look at the debt load.
AT&T does not have the same churn level that Verizon does. Verizon has
It's
the
a
worst
zero.
churn in the industry.
It's a 0.03% difference. Like
But
it
it's
was
still a
dot
difference.
eight. It was dot eight. It's dot 87 versus dot 9. Like that's
I
where
know,
we
but
are.
but
They're
listening,
all in line for the most
but
part.
listening to you speak about it, it's like Verizon's the best thing since sliced bread. Shouldn't they have the lowest churn?
Well, I mean, I got to be honest with you, man. When you're talking about a delta of 0.03%, I would say that's pretty much in line. I mean, what are we talking about right now?
I'm just saying AT&T and
0.03%?
T-Mobile are better positioned than Verizon is for the long haul.
I respectfully disagree. I think that you made good points about AT&T being able to use the government's money via FirstNet, but I don't necessarily think they're best positioned. They still have a worse spectrum position than Verizon does, especially in the mid-band spectrum. And I mean, to be honest, we really want to trust them to build a better
Did I lose
network
you
than
guys?
Verizon would. I hear you.
Well, let's be honest. The two carriers who are best positioned for the future are AT&T and Verizon. From reducing OpEx standpoint and from the network ownership standpoint, it is 100% AT&T and Verizon. I will not argue that.
You're saying because their investment into fiber and towers?
Correct.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Verizon with the
one fiber program, the one fiber program, the Frontier acquisition. AT&T has their own fiber within their ILEC footprints that Verizon basically overbuilt. Let's be honest.
Yep, the vertical bridge deal that Verizon has.
And then AT&T has a structured deal with Tillman. So you're talking about two carriers who have positioned themselves for the long haul. The loser in the long run, especially with the position of their debt, is T-Mobile. They have a lot of short-term debt. They have a lot of variable rate debt, and they don't own anything.
They don't own anything.
They own nothing.
Yeah, but they've never owned anything, and things have worked out pretty well. So I'm still waiting for it to catch up, but it hasn't up to this point. See what I'm saying?
Right.
Doesn't mean it won't. Doesn't mean it won't.
No, you're right. 100%. It could happen. It may happen. I'm just saying up to this point, we haven't seen it.
I just want to get back to how Verizon's worst position for the future. Let's get back to that. Let's talk.
He explained it. I thought he explained it pretty well. I heard him articulate that they're paying for everything themselves, while these other guys have found ways for other entities to subsidize their builds.
That's exactly what I was saying.
T-Mobile purchased Sprint with their money. Like that wasn't government money. It was $26 billion that they
approved it, is what he was saying. Like that.
Okay, so it's a merger. That's not necessarily a handout. That's just a merger.
Well, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Let me kind of push back on that a little bit. You got to remember the timing on the Sprint merger. 2019, approved and cleared in 2020. Building a 5G network with real capacity for 3 years without competition. That's a stimulus.
I agree with that. I agree with that. But it's not paid for with government money. It's a merger.
I mean, they got ahead, bro.
No,
I
I'm not
agree.
saying it's paid by the government
We've
money.
talked
I'm
about
saying
that, and I agree. That's true.
I'm saying T-Mobile has its advantages because of how they were able to coerce and convince the government to give them what they wanted. AT&T has their advantage because they won the FirstNet contract that Verizon and T-Mobile, for whatever reason, didn't seem worthwhile. And then after they won it, both Verizon and T-Mobile cried foul and tried to get them to give up the contract, and it didn't work. Verizon's the odd man out. They have nothing from the government both ways. They have to have all their devices unlocked within, I think, 60 or 90 days. I can't remember what they've changed it to recently. And they don't have any of the advantages that these two other carriers have. AT&T right now is in its growth phase, just like T-Mobile was for the last 3 years or 4 years or however long since they merged with
Pretty
Sprint.
accurate. I agree, Edvin. That's a good point. I agree.
So but that's all I'm saying. Like,
expensive though, right? Like the way that they're getting their growth, it's kind of pricey, right? They're giving everybody $1,000 iPhone. You know, it's kind of tough.
Kind of what I was saying. They're kind of flat on their revenue. I mean, the top line revenue is about the same every quarter, even with that growth. So you're getting all these extra people. You're adding a bunch of bills.
You know where I
they're
think
making extra money out of it.
I think they're trying to get this back with the convergence piece, right? Get these customers on fiber, internet air if they have to. They just want a deeper customer relationship.
Well, I mean, so does Verizon. That's why they just purchased Frontier.
They did Frontier, exactly. And now AT&T with the Lumen piece. Like it kind of makes sense, right?
You got to give credit. You got to give credit. You got to give credit to Verizon for at least competing and it being organic.
They are doing a great job. They are doing a great job. But
are they in line for a government handout, quote unquote, per se? I would say probably so. I've said that before.
They would jump
but
on
they're
the
competing
opportunity.
Organically.
They would jump on the opportunity to go back in time and take that FirstNet agreement or convince the government to let them buy Sprint.
Edvin's right, bro.
The only issue I have is when I hear you guys discussing AT&T, T-Mobile, Verizon. To me, it seems that you guys love Verizon, which is fine. They have a great network. But it's almost like, well, because they didn't do these things, that's why they should be number one. And it's like, no, in spite of those things, they would love to do what AT&T and T-Mobile have done.
I don't think they ever would have been allowed to. Like, for example,
they didn't even bid on the FirstNet agreement. We don't even know if they would have been.
I'm still waiting on more information on that. All I saw was like a quote. I don't know where that quote
was from. I linked it with the tiny URLs. They're not scams, I promise you. It's just if I give you the full URL, it doesn't.
Unless you're a moderator, it won't let me allow you to post it in there. If you could email it to me
here,
Edvin, if you can email it to me, then I could pull it up because unless you're oh no, we lost him. Who is that, Austin? If you could email it to me, Edvin, then I can put it up on.
Can you see
screen.
this chat that I'm putting in?
Can you put in the private chat maybe in the studio?
Just 1 second.
StreamYard. Yeah. See if you could do that.
I just put it in the studio chat or whatnot.
Yeah, it's Austin.
It's
Austin. I was having audio issues.
I mean, if you just Google Verizon didn't bid on FirstNet, you'll get an.
Oh, by the way, real quick, let me get to the super
and then you
chat.
can just click on the link that it links you to, and it's like the first thing.
1 second, Edvin.
It's on Washington Technology. It's literally explained that Verizon didn't bid on this FirstNet contract because of its structure. We chose not to bid on the FirstNet RFP.
Edvin, I got it up on the screen. 1 second though. Kev, thanks for the super chat. He said, "Do you think aggressive carrier upgrade promos will continue through the next iPhone launch, or do you think tariff stuff could interfere with these deals?" I think they'll still keep those same promotions as last year. They don't want to. Right now, AT&T doesn't want to rock the boat. The churn rate's best in industry. The growth is there. They're winning in fiber. I don't think they want to change anything. They're actually like legitimately fixing their stock price. It's like really, really recovered quite a bit. I think they're up like 100% in the last 3 years. So I don't think they want to change it personally. But yeah, here it is, Edvin. It's on the screen. I got it. Verizon steps up rivalry with AT&T and FirstNet. This is dated from August 16th, 2017. Here it is. We chose not to bid on the FirstNet RFP because it was essentially structured as a spectrum deal. We were not interested in commercializing FirstNet spectrum, and we didn't need extra network spectrum to build out our nationwide network. In 2017, that was the first year that Hans was there, wasn't it, Edvin? Oh no, we lost him. Disconnected. We'll see if we can get him back.
There
this-
is. Sneed, I do want to let you know there are audio issues going on. I don't know if other people are having the problem. I did.
I'm sorry about that. I'm back.
No problem.
I don't know when Hans was there or not, but what I'm saying is they chose not to bid on it. And from this article, it seems like they were very happy with their decision. But looking at it today, if
You're
they could
saying
go
they
back,
don't feel the same way today.
like if they could go back, they would definitely want to bid on that and push to get it. And I think they would have won it, to be honest with you, if they actually bid on it. They were the better network back then. And if the whole thing was to support the first responders, I don't think anybody else did it better.
It's
At
probably
least back then. Today, I don't know.
Well, there's interestingly, there's first responders that leave FirstNet and go back to Verizon out west. I don't know about on the East Coast, but I do see it out west.
It happens. Still talking. I mean, I think it's a fair point. Still talking about a merger that I don't think by any account anybody really thought was going to happen. AT&T tried to purchase T-Mobile, and they were told by the previous administration before the Trump administration that they wouldn't be allowed to. So there was already precedents kind of set up for none of the big four to be able to acquire each other. So, I mean, pretty historic that it was allowed to occur.
But I see Edvin's point. These guys, like the industry's really, really close right now. Like if you look at the three companies, it's never actually been like this before. We've never had three big companies able to produce three big networks like this. So like everything happened and everything hit. So like Verizon was like way ahead, but like FirstNet changed everything for AT&T, and here we are. And the Sprint merger happened, and here we are. Like T-Mobile's legit, like they're here. You know, and like if Verizon would have gotten FirstNet, then AT&T's done for. Like it's over. They're like the new Sprint. I mean, you think about Randall Stevenson, the decisions he made, it's over. $150 billion in debt to acquire those companies. DirecTV and Warner Media. They weren't going to make it, dude. They needed FirstNet. I mean, in a way, we have to be kind of glad that it happened the way it did. Now we have three competitors. And Masayoshi-san was trying to get the hell out of telco. He had deep regrets buying Sprint.
Yeah.
Did you guys follow that story? He didn't want to invest in the network. He was about to switch to being a regional provider.
No, T-Mobile definitely did a great job with integrating Sprint into their network and making it what it is today.
Yeah, for sure.
Chicago, man, can you clarify what an SWF is? I've never heard that acronym before.
SWF? I don't know.
Small wireless
facility. I've never heard that term. You heard that before?
No, I've never heard that. So are you talking like a regional provider?
Yeah,
or
is that not national? Is that what that means?
Unless he's talking about a small cell. That's the only other thing I can think of. Okay.
A small cell. Small wireless facility. Okay, yeah.
I mean, you don't see many providers, if any, building small cells in the middle of nowhere. That's just not really a thing that's done.
You got to put those suckers 200-300 feet up in the air, man.
Yeah, the problem is that a lot of times you run into, he talked about it a little bit, like raw land deals, negotiating with landlords in the middle of nowhere. Sometimes you just don't have interest and you can't build anything. It's like,
hey Edvin, do you think Verizon was lying in that disclosure? You think they were telling the truth?
Which one are you referencing? The one that's on the screen right now or something else?
Yeah, the one where they said we didn't want to do it because blah 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 blah. Do you think that was just them trying to save face, or do you think they were telling?
100%. Who doesn't want free spectrum?
Bro, that was Verizon being big in their britches, thinking they didn't need it.
Yeah, that was before everything was kind of shaken up. Like, was this right before or right after they had released
AWS?
their
They
new
just got
Verizon
AWS in
Unlimited plans or
2016.
whatnot.
Yeah,
Well, that was still
2017.
before.
Yeah.
So no, I think they were still like, oh no, we're the best. It doesn't matter. FirstNet, what's that? We don't need it. And now they're like, man, we wish we had bid on that and won it.
Yo, let's
'Cause-
give Hans some truth serum next time and see what he thinks on one of those.
He wasn't the CEO back then. I think he was just running a global network and technology and whatnot, but he wasn't the CEO. That was low back in 17. So I guess if the decision was made back then based on that article, looks like it was.
Do you think Hans would have played it different then?
Maybe. I guess we'll never know, but at least based on what I understand, he wasn't the CEO back then. That was a low idea. So
yeah, but it was also T-Mobile as well that were playing it off like they didn't want to be a part of it. They didn't need it. So
And they always said stuff like that. And John Legere was always full of shit, man. He always lying, bro.
yeah, but it worked.
Well, I mean, some things he said, which were, I mean, I think because they were in their position that they were in, he was playing with house money. He couldn't lose, right? He was just there to shake things up, you know? There wasn't anything on the line. You know, they didn't have the network the other guys had. They didn't have the pricing power the other guys had. So he had to be different, right? So he was loud, he was obnoxious, he was energetic, you know, the exact opposite of Lowell and Randall and those guys.
that's what you got to do in order to be able to grow. You got to be a disruptor. So it makes sense.
Chicago, man, I agree with you, but at the same time, I disagree. I think there are certain providers who understand their local markets a little bit better than others. I don't think that's a blanket statement that applies to all three of the big three.
Kev said, I miss Lowell McAdams compared to Hans.
Well, Sneed, thanks for having me on. I gotta hop off here. I appreciate chatting
Evan.
with you
Friend
guys.
of the show, man. Yeah, anytime you want to come on, just let me know, man. I'll throw you the link. I got you, bro.
All right, take it easy, guys. Have a good night.
See you, man.
So what's the consensus here? AT&T overpaid?
Yeah.
Got some trash.
No, it's
good spectrum. It's good.
It's good spectrum. It's always like EM. If you paid $50 for a T-bone steak, or if you paid $250 for a T-bone steak, what's the better deal?
Depends on how good the steak is, I guess. Same
okay,
steak.
Let's say they
Same
taste
steak?
the same. Yeah, they're both really good.
I want that $50 steak.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, the spectrum's good. It's going to create capacity on the network. It's just a little bit of a disconnect in the price. You know, if there's people who buy Lexuses, I mean, you could buy a Camry SE, bro, and pay half.
I look at it. They paid $9.1 billion for 40 megahertz of contiguous DoD spectrum nationwide. They then got chunks of 20, chunks of 30, some chunks of 40,
right,
for basically double. If you want to negate the 600 megahertz, which was also very sparse. That's not just something ain't adding up, man. They I don't know who signed off on it, but at the same time, though,
I haven't seen anybody writing any publications saying that they're buying towers, retail stores, customers. It's literally the DoD and the 600. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, one argument that I'm going to play devil's advocate to my original point here. Spectrum is spectrum. There's a finite amount. There's not much available. So, like, if you look at it from that viewpoint of the dwindling availability of sub 6 gigahertz spectrum, they may not have gotten as raw of a deal.
This may be an indication that the spectrum pipeline is not strong.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree. There's not a whole lot coming down the pipe.
AT&T was willing to overpay for spectrum. They're like,
they had to. They had to. I mean, think about it. Sneed, if you're confident in your product, why wouldn't you raise prices? They've been the least they've been the meekest of the carriers as far as price increases. Why is that? I think it's because they don't have the highest amount, or they don't have a high enough confidence in their wireless network to kind of stick their chest out. T-Mobile does it all the time. They think their network is good enough to be able to substantiate a price increase. Verizon obviously thinks the same.
I think it's all relative. I think it's relative to the network perception or experiences and what the customer is willing to pay. So it's like, well, if I know Verizon's charging X and I know T-Mobile is charging Y, and the people think that our network is better than T-Mobile's but not as good as Verizon's, then I have to be priced somewhere in between.
There's truth to that, but eventually, Sneed, your investors are going to say, hey, when are you going to make more than $30 billion in a quarter? Eventually, you got to kind of come up. Why else would they spend $23 billion on spectrum that's not even contiguous? I mean, in across the country.
But the ticker's been up, B. They've been on an upswing, right?
Yeah, that's probably more so because of fiber than it is because of wireless. I mean, they've really been pitching their fiber because, I mean, that's the asset that they know that they have, and it's been working. It's a great story. I mean, and they've been executing really, really well in that space. But have they really been as boisterous about their wireless network? In my opinion, no, they haven't, because they haven't had the spectrum assets to warrant that. FirstNet's allowing them to be able to keep up. I mean, I think it's a good point. I think the gentleman who was on before made some valid points. Spectrum, that spectrum from FirstNet has really been helping them out. It's been their saving grace, to be honest. It looks like, based on everything that's been shared, maybe that was a mistake on Verizon's part. It'd be difficult for me to say otherwise, to be honest. But I mean, I'm not sure that's going to be enough. If it was, they wouldn't have just spent $23 billion on piecemeal spectrum that they acquired, apparently. So we'll see what happens. But you got to give credit to Verizon for still being able to compete almost 100% organically. Everybody else has kind of gotten some really sweet deals from the government. So I think we talked about that before, Sneed. And
I do think Verizon is culpable. They should have been louder.
I agree.
Absolutely.
I agree,
Yeah.
There were opportunities for them to do something.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I'm saying? Like, in a fight, just boxing. People know boxing. There's two things in a boxing match. There's punching, and then there's avoiding getting punched. You throw punches and you avoid punches. How long are you going to get punched for?
Bro, that's what I'm saying, bro. Verizon needs to just they need to swallow their pride and play the freaking game, dude. Play the game like your competitors are playing the game.
There you go.
They are too prideful. That company is too prideful.
Is AT&T cheating, or is the game played the same for all of them?
I'm more and more convinced the more that the FCC bends the knee to T-Mobile and AT&T that Verizon's just not playing the game right. I think that's what it is.
I think that's fair. Sometimes you gotta be willing to do that, even if you don't necessarily quote unquote need it. Sometimes you gotta get it so that no one else gets it. That strengthens your overall brand, especially if we're talking about Spectrum, for example. You end up deploying it. Sometimes you got to play that game. And to this point, based on what we see here in this article, if they had acquired that FirstNet spectrum, I don't know if AT&T would still be around in its current form. But Verizon would definitely be a lot stronger. They'd have the low band coverage that they need, and they'd have pretty much continuous business from all of the first responders in the country. So definitely seems like a mistake on leadership's part back then, which happens. I mean, it just proves that I guess Verizon bleeds, right? It happens.
Back then, I'd say even now, they need to play the game.
Yeah.
They're not willing to play the game that T-Mobile and AT&T are clearly willing to play, and I think it's going to hurt them.
AT&T literally said, two things about T-Mobile to the FCC, and all of a sudden now they got AWS in Hawaii.
Right, that's what I'm saying, bro.
Like literally, they literally said these guys have too much capacity in Hawaii. We can't compete, and boom, T-Mobile sends spectrum to AT&T, transfers AWS right to AT&T. That happened.
Yeah, and Verizon did what?
Nothing.
That's what I'm saying, bro. They're not willing to play the game.
They're like, cool story, bro, and they like walked away.
Oh, we don't need it. We're Verizon. We don't need it. Play the game, mother.
It's unfortunate because I mean they don't have. I don't think they have C-band in Hawaii. All they have is millimeter wave. Yeah, so I mean, yeah. I think Ian makes a valid point. That's not one of Verizon's strong suits. It seems like, and maybe that needs to change quickly. Because there's really no reason. There's really no reason for them to be struggling at all. The network is too good for them to be struggling to sell it. You know.
Right, and that's what I'm saying, bro. It's not that they're struggling. It's that they're not willing to play the game to get a competitive edge on their competition. Like their competition is willing to do. AT&T is willing to bend the knee. T-Mobile's willing to bend the knee. Verizon's like, nah. I'm just gonna hang out over here by myself, bro. I'm good.
Right. We're just gonna keep doing what we do. All right, well that's fine, but everybody else is kissing the ring and getting done what they need to get done. It's not an inaccurate statement.
From like a national perspective, like the lead went from like let's say they're running like a 100-yard race. You know, there was like 20 yards between VZ and their competitors. Well, now it's like you can't tell who's who. I mean, T-Mobile's convinced everybody that they're right there.
Yeah, you can tell from a network performance standpoint.
And AT&T's convinced everybody they're right there. Like it's
yeah, but the perception is definitely changed. It doesn't mean that the data has, but the perception has definitely changed.
And you know, B, that the data doesn't impact customer decisions.
I mean, it does when there's a problem, but most customers aren't looking up RootMetrics results. So I agree with you there.
Yeah.
People still know that Verizon's got a better network than everybody else. But I think a lot of customers are out there kind of asking themselves, do I need the best of the best? But I think Verizon, to EM's point, probably got to do a better job of telling people just how close pricing is too. Like you got to start telling people that. I mean, the difference in price is not what it used to be. And everybody still thinks there's a huge delta between the carriers, and it's just not. If it was me and I'm sitting in that seat, I would be screaming to the rooftops about how I don't even have the most expensive price anymore. That would be T-Mobile. I haven't seen Verizon say that at all. Not even once. I would. Why not? I think that's kind of the stuff that Ian was talking about. I could be wrong. I mean, that seems like something that will go right in line with what Ian was saying. You got to be willing to get in the weeds and do what you got to do.
I mean, even then, though, I don't even know if Verizon's T-Mobile's main target anymore. I was listening to the radio the other day, and I heard a targeted ad for AT&T customers from T-Mobile. Specific, I don't know if it's like a local, advertisement or what, but T-Mobile was specifically targeting AT&T customers and telling them to switch over for some exclusive promotion. So, like, I don't even think Verizon's in the crosshairs of T-Mobile anymore.
I think that's local marketing more than it is national, especially if that was in the Midwest. Remember, they just purchased U.S. Cellular. They got more spectrum in that area. They got more cell sites in those areas. I think that's probably what
area. AT&T or Verizon, typically.
In the Midwest?
Yeah.
Verizon.
It's Verizon, but I mean, I think the perception is that AT&T's had stronger network performance in some areas of the Midwest. Maybe that's why they're coming after them instead of Verizon. But yeah, I mean, to Ian's point, I haven't seen any targeted promotions from Verizon towards either one of their two competitors. Why not? I mean, why not? Well, why not? Their network is still really, really, really good. I don't think that's the reason why people would leave, if they do leave at all. So why wouldn't you try to see if you can attack in places where you feel like you have a competitive advantage? Why not? That's the type of game I will play. I mean, EM, is that kind of in line with what you're saying?
Yeah, for Verizon's very, what's the word I'm looking for? Reserved when it comes to their marketing and their willingness to attack their competition. It's like they're just like, nah, just let them punch us a few times. Not a big deal. It's okay. Like, come on, bro, throw some punches back. Like,
yeah.
holy shit, dude.
Yeah,
just
get back.
listen to him getting pummeled on these advertisements, and you see it all the time. And Verizon's just like, we got Pete Davidson, we got Albert Einstein, we're good. like, come on, man.
We got Lindsay Lohan. Like, really?
Is that the new one? Is that the new one?
Yeah,
Lindsay Lohan.
Lindsay Lohan. I mean, no disrespect to Lindsay Lohan. I'm sure she's a very nice person, but
yeah. No, that's not what I'm saying. It's just like, bro, get John Legere in an ad and cook T-Mobile. Bring him into the kitchen, cook T-Mobile. Like, come on, man.
Hold up, EM. Do you remember when Lindsay Lohan was part of the Plastics, bro? Remember that?
Oh God, I don't know if I'm that old.
That would be a nice commercial, man.
Mean Girls, bro.
Get John Ledger in a Verizon commercial to say he was wrong. I mean, that would actually be a great commercial. I mean, that would be a good commercial.
Have him cooking T-Mobile in the kitchen with his leather jacket or whatever. Like, come on, man. We toast up T-Mobile on the frying pan or whatever he did. Cooking with John. Oh man.
I think that's what it's going to take. I mean, at the end of the day, those are the types of things that make people laugh and people remember. And next thing you know, they're calling to see what you have to offer. I don't think there's anything wrong with Verizon's promotions. I don't think there's anything wrong with Verizon's overall value proposition, perks, any of that stuff. I think all that stuff is great, but it's just their go-to-market strategy. Like, their marketing is just it's not good enough. To EM's point, they never punch back. They seem like that old geezer type of company. It's unfortunate.
And here's the problem: is that old geezer customer base is dwindling quickly.
Bro, they're dying.
They're dying, bro.
I think that's a bit of an exaggeration. The baby boomers are living quite long, but I do understand you guys' point. But I think it's a little bit of an exaggeration.
Hold on, bro. The life expectancy is 80.
You gotta appeal to the younger market.
That's the average life expectancy.
The average life expectancy.
Have you ever seen a bell-shaped curve?
Hey, Sneed, the average life expectancy is actually 5 years younger than that.
No,
it's not. It's 80.
It's 80. It's like 80.
Yeah, the average is 80.
It went back up finally?
It's 80.
I don't know. It's like 79.8, 80.3. Like, it depends on the year.
Yeah, it's 80 years old. Yep, just right around there. Yeah, it is.
Sneed being the Grim Reaper. Come on, man.
Damn.
Come on, man.
Nah, I was trying to turn the narrative around, Sneed. You kind of drifted back into that room.
The hurdle that Verizon has is that T-Mobile is the millennial carrier. T-Mobile is the young person carrier, and they have rode that train into the sunset, and it's worked for them.
I agree, David Morton. I agree. People still think Verizon's far more expensive, and it's just not true anymore. It just shows that people is as smart as we think people are. I really don't think that people do the type of shopping that they probably should. I don't think that that's true. Go ahead,
Steve. I'm trying to get the Tesla phone, bro, and just rock with Starlink, man.
Sneed loves Tesla. He loves Tesla.
I agree, Antoine. It's really not that expensive compared to everybody else. I mean, everybody kind of upped their pricing in order to get more in line with what Verizon's charging. So everybody kind of charging about the same thing. What's up?
Antoine is your spirit animal, bro.
I don't have a spirit animal, man.
He loves him some VZ.
Man, all y'all be over here complaining about cellular when I'm paying for $135 in Comcast. All right.
Listen, bro, you just gotta get Starlink. Call up Elon. Say, look.
What is wrong with Sneed? What are you doing?
Sneed, what are you doing? Are you okay over there?
Listen, Elon is the way, bro. He's gonna fix everything. We're gonna get you. You got to download the T Life app. We need you to go to the T-Mobile store. We're gonna sign you up for the Starlink, bro.
No,
bro, I'm with B on this one. I'm with B on this one,
bro. He's out in rural Florida. Come on, bro.
Confusing billing, Chicago, man. Stop it. Come on.
They have the same billing style as shitty billing. They all have shitty.
Yeah, it's the same billing style as everybody else. That's what I'm talking about, man. I don't get it. It's the same billing style as everybody else. You got a price for the plan and a price for the lines. It's the same thing.
Mint Mobile is where it's at, bro. Partner link in the description.
My
you
my
still
AT&T
partnership?
fiber bill is different every single month.
You
Like,
tell him, David. You tell him, David. Zero issues, man. Same here. My Verizon bill's the same every month. I don't have any issues.
Man,
So,
mine's been different like 7 months in a row.
we talked about
I
that,
can-
Sneed, and I blame Sneed. I blame Sneed for that.
Ah, man.
Oh my god, I added phones to my plan and now my bill's different.
Bro, I
It's
have
Verizon.
very deep regrets about that, bro.
I know.
Very
I know.
deep regrets.
I will say
But at least it got fixed, bro. At least it got fixed,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
I have one single line on AT&T and fiber, and my bill is different every single month. Does not matter. It's different every month. Sometimes it's $3 more. Sometimes it's $3 less. It's like,
Hey, listen, Vartan, I need you to tell B about the super MVNO, man. Talk to him. Tell him.
Don't tell me about anything. I don't want to hear it.
Oh! All right, guys. Good show. Thank you for being here. I appreciate everybody on the panel. Edvin for stopping by. We had Max for a while. We had a Moose sighting for a while. B, Austin, EM Tech. Thank you guys. Everybody with the super chats. Big salute to you guys. Thanks for supporting the channel directly. To all the members, all my mods, thank you. Everybody in the live chat, you guys are great. Please do like this video. That does help out the channel. Share the content. Put us on your socials. Share us with your friends and family. Help our channel get into other people's feeds. We appreciate it. We'll see you guys soon on the next one. Peace.
Peace.